Hello, welcome to JupiterAudiobooks.com. I hope you enjoy this audio. Remember that you can find this and many other complete novels visiting our official website, JupiterAudiobooks.com. Get comfortable and enjoy the narration.
Do you have any objection? I do. I object. Because, is it okay for Yuunagi-san? Am I bothering you too much? Even though I was called useless, I don't want it. I'll also go into the game. So let me participate too. That's not what I meant. It's not that I want you to completely enjoy the real world or anything. If I let you take responsibility in ROC, you'll be dead if you will gathering for 3 seconds. If that happened, it would be bad for me. And one more thing, it's true I told you to rely on Yukaina, but there should be limit. Sleeping together is completely prohibited. So please bear with it. Oh, I am sorry. Because Yukina-san was so gentle, so I will review myself. Got it. I'll try not to hinder Yuunagi-san. So Yuunagi-san, do your best, of course. Because there's my life. First of all, let me summarize things. Except for emergency logout, at every night I'll collect a vast amount of return. Each time we swap, we'll report the situation into this notebook. You too. If anything happens, write it in here. The talk will end here, ______. There's one more thing. Calling it limit, but if it was in control, it'd be fine. If you want to go to school or go out, it'd be okay. To you maybe my body is boring, there's no such thing. I am really grateful to you. As expected, Yuunagi-san is a good person, even after finishing the conversation with Harukaze, because my childhood friend was waiting outside impatiently, so I also have to hurry and return to ROC. After meeting up with Himuri, I and her stare into the map and thought of our next move. As expected, I think it was somewhere in here. While saying so, I pointed at the 5-5 light point on the map. In north there were 2 point, west 1 point, southeast 1 point, and my current location 1 point. All the point was scattered, they were not meaningless. This light point, from the moment I got great bondage, was shown on the screen. That meant each point was correspond with the position of each cursed hidden treasure. In other words, when we got one hidden treasure, we could know the location of other treasures, is that so? The hidden treasure attracts each other, kind of like telepathy. Himuri murmured and tilted her head, wondering. What that, then it's really convenient. Is that so? If in that case we have to be ready PvP without prior preparation. Then it wouldn't be fun playing game like that. Moreover, there's also this. Not only great bondage, but the location of the guy who possessed hunted evil also coincides with this light point. This is not coincidence. Oh, that's right. Naihai, as expected, Haruchin is really great. You smart. Himuri continued, leaned on me and touched her fingertip to the map screen. I was thinking about what she was about to do, but it seemed like she was just measuring the distance between the light point. Will it be here? This is also close too. Which is it that Haruchin is aiming at? If it wasn't hunted evil, then whichever is fine. Anyways, we have to collect them all. And, saying that, I suddenly remember. Right, before that I need to add more spell first. My card slot is already empty, that's so. Speaking of which, you threw away that short knife, right? Yoshii, then before going trading in the weapon store we have to go jumping, right? Anaihihai, urban legend, there was really. And then, after done with the weapon shop, where we came to was Oue City Third Park. Near the station, where half of the ground was covered in the greenness of tree leaves, the other half was built for balls game, one of the big rare park in this city. In break day this place was filled with teenage who came here exercise, old man taking a walk and relax under the tree's shade, but because I was inside ROC, so this place was empty. As expected, less player comes to wide places. But it must be like that to be balanced, right? The place where the populace is high, then it will be boring if it became an all-out battle. You rewrite. Then there wouldn't be any need of strategy and cards, the only thing left was to fight and crush the opponent, then it wouldn't match the concept of game. Alright, Nai-hi, a girl like Haruchan saying words like crush makes me very excited? What? At least Don-T say it out like that. While fiercely talking we walked into the park. Different to Hunted Evil, which revealed the location, the light point affecting each other between hidden treasures didn't have high accuracy. It could only tell there was one around here, nothing more. Therefore, even though I knew the person who owned the hidden treasure was somewhere inside the park, but I was still blind about his real position. An extreme story, maybe he was hiding in the bush in front of me. Or is he in the jungle? As it'll be easier to hide thing in the jungle, half believe and half not, I steadied my feet and went straight. No matter what, the opponent was the same as me, he could feel the location of the hidden treasure, so that guy also knew my position. The more I got closer, the more danger I felt. Also, the opponent didn't run away, meant he was hiding somewhere ready to attack, or it was some other choice. So hot. The high noon sun was as if burning my skin. A small sweat dropped out my neck. At that moment, Kya-a scream teared up the air. A small area inside the tree shade. Two men were attacking a girl, her cloth was violently tore off. Following that scream, I saw the scene which I felt as if wanting to vomit. The scream was the final limit. Maybe it was not because she had lost her shame and fear. That reddish eyes because of crying had become lifeless, her lips was trembling as if calling someone's name. Koen. Hearing that whisper, I suddenly remembered. That right, this girl was with Izayoi before. Seemed her name was Rika. Her scream for help didn't reach him. As if to satisfy their savagery, disgustingly grinding. TCH. Immediately, my body became engaged. I took out the small sword I just replaced and headed toward those two. I was readying for the ambush attack when they wasn't paying attention. Your dirty hands on my stuffs. Really, the Izayoi Kazuki guy had appeared right next to me at that moment, holding his black seemingly heavy gun. He pointed at the big man, then pulled the trigger. Pew, and immediately gunshot sounded. The man somehow dodged it. After looking at the girl regrettably, he ran away. And the other one, while letting out the high from his throat, he started keeping distance. About this guy, I remembered him. He was the guy who used that bizarre long sword me before. And now, in this situation, he was busted. Hi-ya. He screamed and ran in the different direction compared to the other one. A weak Rika fell on his arm. With her remaining strength, she held her body tight, closed her tearful eyes and murmured as if having delirium. Cough, Zuki-kun aa, I am sorry Rika. I was late. Now I'll go and castrate those two. I was lost it okay, so be quiet. Don't show this haggard body anymore, really why being grumpy, Izayoi scratched his black tea-colored hair, then he covered Rika with his coat, then after getting patted, somehow Rika's pale face had become lively again. TCH, they separated into two ways. Izayoi grunted in fury, his forehead had clear vein popping out. What is he going to do? Weren't he a bad guy? This was a little cheating. Hey, don't ignore me, I am talking to you Tarumi Yuunagi, in contrast to the angry Izayoi. He suddenly shifted his sharp glare at me. Me, Watashi? Watashi? Are you trying to mimicking fairy tale? How ridiculous, eh? It's very fitting, are you blind or what? Didn't he mind his defamation, I also strongly retorted. So dangerous, the smile of a bishjo was so dangerous. Izayoi stared at me, with his mocking laugh he spitted. As if turning 180 degree, this time he curved his mouth as if laughing at himself. Yuunagi, thanks for lending a hand. Even if I am not here you still make it. I didn't do anything, I don't care. I said you helped means you helped. All are based on my decree, whatever you say doesn't mean anything. So, I have something to discuss, can you help me clean them up? What the, saying those words doesn't suit you at all Shut up. When running away they don't seem to have both return or teleport, but if we let them run to weapon store or floating point it'll be annoying. Even for a second I don't want to breathe the same air with them. But I am alone is not enough leaving those angry words. Agitation, although I only stand face to face and a few meter away from his AOI, but I felt the surrounding temperature was rising, as if something dangerous was about to blow. Ha is AOI. To start with, why are you here? Ha? You think I came here to confess? If so then I done it in my previous life. Keep your joke to yourself. Look, from the start they were my target. I don't need you to tell us to go hunting them. In fact they are our praise, don't interfere. Yeah. You are really troublesome. Izayoi waved his hand before my enthusiastic words. Then he looked back at Rika as if worrying about her. Himuri was starting to take care of her. Drinking sip of water she took from somewhere, then using wet towel to wipe her body. Wiping her face, her neck and chest. That gentleness, I completely didn't feel it when she was trying to rape me. While watching Himuri maybe Izao I also felt that Rika's expression had calmed down. He suddenly let out as if forcing it down for a while. Now I also owed a favor. Then, I leave that side to you, Yuunagi, you two. After trading looks, we slit and chased after each target. Now you will pay for making. Anyways I spilled out those cold-blooded words. I had to. Anyways he had used speed to run away. Knowing a bit about PvP, full of experience, and also had a companion, even for a newbie like me he won my opponent. Then, goodbye. Saying those hard words cutely. The man body tumbled down and turned into particles. Because my personally had been resolved, I quickly activated my device and confirmed my spoil of war. Looking at the map, the place with the light spot was definitely the long sword user. He just died. And there was the big guy who I was not related to, although I didn't know what happened to him. At least the hidden treasure was owned by him. So I had definitely stolen it if I won the PvP. What is this, Unconsciously, I let out a weird voice. Corrosion time. The appeared card had a nice name. Exactly as I expected. Just that, why was my HP lowering in an abnormal speed? I quickly check its effect. Corrosion time, I see, poison. Or it could be said to be an abnormal status. Effect: take a fixed amount of damage each hour. The slots on myself wasn't a bit too much. That had to be 10 damages in 5 seconds. If it was Himuri then the chance of surviving was a bit higher. However, to Kumoi Haruka this was deadly. The maximum HP was only 50, there was 25 more second to my end. Damn it, what must I do? Is there no other way? I tremblingly went through the card slot in hopelessness. Even if I had recovered wouldn't be enough, return didn't even have any meaning. Also, in ROC the way to discard a card didn't exist. Even though I collected 2 cards. Don't tell it all will end here. I must not let my final moment be like this. Therefore I needed to manage it, find every possible method to survive in this situation. But, was there anything to help me? Can I find it? The place to traded card was only the weapon shop, but from here to there was very face. In the end I couldn't think of anything in the last 20 seconds. Now my HP was only 10, the health bar had become dangerously red. Right when I was ready to accept my death cast deprived, suddenly, the card corrosion Timmy on my hand disappeared. What is this? It cuts your HP down a lot. At the same time, I heard an innocent scream behind me. With swiftly footstep. Waving twin tails. The personality of a noisy girl as always. That right. The one who saved me from that dangerous situation was none other than Himuri. Why did you nay, Haruchin? What do you mean why, you really cruel? Aren't we a team? After leaving Rika-chan to Izao-kun we had hurriedly chased after them. Don't tell me you are still doubting me? I couldn't answer her. Maybe, the most part of my heart had started accepting Himuri. But my doubting personality was still lurking somewhere. Therefore, I always thought that humanity was always ugly and annoying. Although, I didn't plan on being so low I wouldn't say thank to the one who saved me. Thank you. You just saved me, no biggie. But we couldn't handle this hidden treasure, although it was a pity, but we had to sell it to the weapon store. Yeah, right, I agreed with a dark face. True to what Himuri said. 2 hidden treasures with great bondage. Corrosion time was the card which I would lose faster if I obtained it early. I wanted to take it back later, but this time even hunted evil was also a big problem. Give me a break. Maybe I needed to think carefully about these 2 cards with cursed abilities. Too much murderous intent, without any help at all. Collecting hidden treasure ends here for today. Murmuring with a small voice, I also knew myself right now was a bit impatient. B. Quoted apart from the trading diary, today thanks to Yukina-san I was late outside. I borrowed Unagi-san's cloth, but as expected boy clothes are hard to wear. I made Yukina-san laughed out loud. No. Hey Unagi-san. The outside world, there were human everywhere, which made me feel very astonished. At first I was very scared, but after Yukina-san took my hand and led me, this way it will be better, slowly my fear was gone before I knew it. Everything was simply so bright, happy, and the noisiness of the district. Or it could be said as the lively atmosphere. So I knew a little more. On the way, we met a girl named Ruri-san who jumped down from the tree. The people at the real world also live on it. We 3 took a walk around the city. Even though the building and location was the same in ROC, but I was able to look at a completely different scene. Maybe this was the best day of my life. I was really, really happy. And about Unagi-san, do you need to swap back? Do you feel uncomfortable or anything? If there's anything I can do, please tell me. I really want to return the favor. Anything. Because I am Unagi-san's partner. Writing about corrosion time and being attacked by cursed Madden killing warrior attacked, I logged out to receive the periodic report from Harukaze, then continued to return back to this world, ROC. By the way, the impatience I felt a while ago had faded like a small lie. Why? Because, it was just because I calmed down. Like being emotional at being helped, a lot of Harukaze written in the book, it closed the deep of my heart that there was no crack that impatience could breach anymore. It was completely not because the fairy tale like Ryusonu. I and Himuri was opening a strategic meeting in the family restaurant like before. As to not make the same mistake with the coffee, this time I only ordered a cup of tea with lots of milk and syrup. As long as it was sweet. Though it was rather feminine. Now, about the first victory condition, collecting 5 cursed hidden treasure is impossible. That's right. That's right. What are you planning to do, Haru-chin? Or we give up and go look for the princess? No, actually I am not that desperate yet, Himuri said in surprise and leaned her body to me in agreement. Someone who had little enthusiasm as me, somehow had risen my finger and acted like a real teacher. I cleared my throat. Kohan, things go like this, right? There are 3 kind of people in ROC, 3 kind, that means, like me, above me, and below me. Something like that? What is that plain idea? No, not that, it was player, NPC, and something else. NPC likes the store employee, people who plays the role of a guide, and a glance the female employee here all had a synchronized smile and said, "What is your order?" Even their manner and facial expression too, all was perfect. Just that, I completely couldn't feel their humanities. It was simply a non-player character, no more no less. Then that other thing, not NPC nor player. Then there is only the king's henchman related to the game completing condition, right? They are camouflaged like normal NPC, but real they aren't. There are definitely people inside. That's right, rumor has it that they are enticing people player in Ura-game, or to attain them we have to go through a bloody battle? Behind the curtain of this ROC in the end there were how many monsters? Thinking about it only was enough to make me feel uneasy, but right now it was not important. The important point was only one thing right now. It was there was people inside the king's henchman. If so, different than NPC, they could react like human. Thinking about the candidate that could react normally, I rounded them up. Except the cursed Madden killing warrior. There was the weapon shop. Then the librarian in the center library. If so, there are 3. Ma, although it's a little untrustworthy, to see if it's the true or not we have to go and confirm it. In theory, if all is around here, there is only one more person? Maybe it's the case where we could complete it easily without notice. Oh. Himuri said happily and clapped her hands with bright eyes. I understood her feeling. When losing one victory condition, I was also very sad. Although seeing a new goal, I still didn't feel at ease. Eri, but having clapped her hand with an employee, Himuri became excited. However, in just a second she became gloomy again. Haruchan, what about the condition? For cursed Madden killing warrior San, we must damage him, right? If we could not complete that condition set on each individual, the henchman San wouldn't become our ally. That's alright. I have planned for it. After finish the tea, I stood up. Drinking it all in one gulp was a little wasteful, but if it was inside ROC, I didn't care much. First, let us go to the weapon shop. Welcome. After being warmly welcomed, I and Himuri walked inside the weapon store, a too familiar place. On the second floor of the West Building, the only shopping center of OUES City. It was placed in the same location as the sports shop in the real world. The shop owner was a burly uncle who was looking at us and exposed a friendly smile. Oh, ISNT at Lady Himuri Nanes and Lady Kumoi Haruka. Today you two are also beautiful. Naihihai, uncle still has his way with words as always. What should I buy? Do you have anything to recommend? Come here. Then what about this? The replica of a legendary sword, Excalibur, a sword that had destroyed evil. Although only its ATK is guaranteed UA, what kind of size is this? I can bring this thing? Wouldn't it be called romance if lady with your style bringing those big sword? It's not like I don't know that. But it alone takes up 3 card slot. Who could use this thing? I don't need it. Himuri refused the offer of the replicated, legendary weapon. He became puzzled after those words, but immediately he regained his sense and laughed gahaha. He curved his hair up and popped out his chest. As expected, no matter how I looked at it, he didn't look like an NPC. No, what is it, Lady Haruka? You want another plain weapon? With a silver hair girl like you, lady, I think a mechanic partner would fit well? Okay. When I am old enough to drink alcohol, I'll talk to you all night about it, maybe not. Looking the happy face of the shop owner, I opened the device and displayed my card slot. First I materialized the small sword Revia. Then I selected 2 spells from the empty slot. At the same time, the effect of each spell showed up when I touched them in the bottom of the page. The unique word trade flared up. Trade. I give recover in synchronized. For delay and enhance, okay. Here you go, I give delay speed enhance. Take sense teleport recover, okay. Here you go, I give sense teleport recover iron wall. Take any 4 kinds of normal spell, okay. Here you go, what are you doing? Haruchan, as I was continually trading with the shop owner, seemed like Himuri had become sulking when left behind. She hugged me and pouted her cheek angrily. It was this sweet smell and that numbness that always made my head dizzy. Cooloo. But though I'd gotten used to it. Truly, I was used to it. And since I'd gotten used to it, I didn't care anymore. TCH, then just look at me. Let us continue enhanced speed teleport synchronized trade for 1 return and speed iron wall, okay. Here you go, the reaction speed of the shop owner suddenly slower. So it was around this? Return iron wall for enhanced return speed synchronized teleport, okay. Here you go, got it. I confirmed it. Although the owner seemed like he had kept his calm, but his eyes were becoming sharper. Being provoked? Or getting angry? All was not. Simply I was confirming in my head if the set condition could be reached or not. The man who was the weapon store owner, while trading card, he would simply said one line, okay. Here you go. However, sometimes he paused on his answer. I was thinking about the cause of it. First, the case if there was no stock left. To investigate about goods in front of the store it was when it was presented. There was possibility it would be different than the calculation from the player. In order to balance the scale when trading, of course he couldn't keep nodding. However, this time what I asked for was return with the cost of 3 and normal spell with the cost of 1. As if normally there was reason for pausing. But he was confused. From there, another theory was born. The condition to become the weapon shop's owner partner was to point out the correct trading card. Meaning just need to establish the trading of X card for Y card to make him become partner. Therefore when he was told the few card, in a moment he paused and answered slowly. Next, if what I predicted was right, then the answer was really close. Because the limit of card slot was 7 card, and the value of each card was simply divided into rank as normal, 1, rare, 3, curse, hidden treasure, 18, so when combining them it wasn't too much'em. Enhanced speed, return teleport, trade for return teleport, synchronized speed. What's the matter? If there's anything wrong, let me do it again, uncle. Foo, no, this is bad. I continued my head, the owner with a barbed head smile listlessly. It didn't fit with his appearance. He slowly shook his head, crossed his arm and fixed the posture of his legs. Bing! He just raised a finger and introduced himself. Very good, I've been seen through. That's right. The number 1 captain of the Imperial Knight Squadron, Strum and Drang Alpha-sama, has been hiding in this weapon shop. Although it was different than our wish, but it's a deal. Very well, I'll become your partner. What kind of plain reaction is that? I didn't know how long would it take to remember his titles, seeing that the shop owner Strum and Drang something knelt down with extreme disappointment. As it was truth that my reaction had made the middle-aged man of this night company or the wish something of our become listless. Because I felt a little sympathy, I patted his shoulder. Bop, however, anyways, this is a big turnaround. Hey, Haim A.H.? Haim, la, Lady Himuri Nanes. Are you free? Do you have something to say? If it was dating, then I always did it with Haruchin? Ha, is that so? What a pity. Failure. Haha, that heroic demeanor I had just saw went to who knows where. Captain Alpha right now only talked in a calm voice of a weapon shop owner. When his pleading eyes looked at me, I only sighed. The king's henchmen, they all knew Kumoi Haruka was the princess. I only just knew this surprising information. That was the result when I interrogated Alpha with this cute voice behind the shop, and then made him 4 times blurt it out as he called me Haim and my ledge. Or to be more precise, it would be strange if the related people doesn't know your face, right? Because I couldn't deny it, I became a bit annoyed. Then oh. The shop owner returned to his demeanor when he saw my upset face. What's the matter, Lady Kumoi Haruka? No, it must be Kumoi Haruka-sama. What's the difference between them? Well, whatever, I have something to ask you. The card Corrosion Time, you just got it recently. Did you sell it? Before my question, the one who let out a strange voice was Himuri. For some reasons, she avoided our eyes and just like that intervened the talk. Why do you need that card? Didn't we give up on the first whining condition? That's right. In order to collect my thought, I gently used my index and scratched the back of my head. Corrosion Time in truth was a card in the whining condition series. It was just that, there was the possibility there was only one card of that kind and couldn't be replaced by other. It was an abnormal condition. Taking damage constantly. Or to be more precise, poison. Now, although it was poison to the mysterious buyer in the real world, but to social game player in RPG it would be understood by another meaning. That right to someone with high defense poisoning them would be a strategy. It was the cursed Madden killing warrior Himuri. We couldn't pierce his defense in a normal way. If there was any other way I would be ready and prepared it already, and one of it was Corrosion Time, but how to do it? We can give the card to the enemy? The card itself can apply to him. But we could copy the abnormal condition with Synchronize. From the start, if using Synchronize his defense would also disappear, and I could win afterward. However, when thinking about it carefully, it was not like he couldn't run away in that situation. While synchronize would teleport and could return, therefore, when we are poisoned by corrosion timite was the time to deal damage. Himuri nodded in admiration. However, her face looked a bit darker than normal. Ah no, compared to saying it was dark, she was just somewhat embarrassed. Himuri? What's the matter, Haruchin? Today you look extremely cute. No, that's my line. Moreover, the way you changed the subject is very amateur. Is that so? That's right. I know that. I always know that. Are you okay? Looking at the strange appearance of Himuri, I heaved a sigh. I knew why she became fidgeting like that. Now there was nothing to stop it. I suddenly felt uncomfortable. This reaction, it was that. To prove it, for a while now the shop owner just shook his head and thought deeply. After that he said the true. Because? From the start, I didn't import the rare card called Corrosion Time? Have you mistaken, lady? What are you saying? I only said the true, unable to speak out. Himuri's face became pale. While ignoring those words, I myself felt a disappointment. At that time, Himuri said she would bring Corrosion Time to sell at the weapon store. However, that exchange did not happen. If looking at that action, it could only be said as she had deprived Corrosion Time from me. If so, then Himuri approached someone who was going to finish the game like me in order to collect hidden treasure for someone else? Her suspiciously intimate action until now of her, all was a trap to keep me down? An uncomfortable feeling was raging inside my mind. What should I do now? What should I say? Wasn't it from the beginning ID already known? All those who approached me always have malicious intent. They only wanted to trick me, beat up and kill me. If I didn't think so, I couldn't survive. Wasn't I already known that for sure? Haruchin? Himuri stared at me as if wanting to say something. I didn't even know what she was going to do. That look, that scent or any other nonsense was only tricks. I must not trust it. Must not trust. Because no matter where I am always alone. Haruchin. What is it? Suddenly being yelled into my ear, my calmed mind just came back. In front of my eyes was the figure of Himuri with a red face as if she was angry. Haruchin, listen to me. No, look at me. What is it? The problem about you I am not going to The dark way of thinking in my head suddenly became chaotic. In a blink it was blown away. I unconsciously looked her again. Himuri's card slot was making me face up and look. Over there was the Corrosion Time. Then Himuri said. Sorry? Because I lied. But, it's not like I am going to give it to someone. I had a very important business, no. It couldn't be, I said in bewilderedness. This, you hold this for a few hours? No matter how much your HP is. Even with all the recover card you couldn't survive it, it's that. Bonus synchronize? Combining recover and iron wallet will regenerate in a fixed time. Generating here means recovering HP continuously, that I know. But maintaining it for several hours is not simple. It's impossible. Himuri clapped her hand behind her back playing dumb. She looked at me sadly. No matter how much HP you had, it was very difficult to maintain it. In order to analyze, it was not simple. Because of that I had to urge my head, using my all to turn the situation around. Corrosion Time was the kind of hidden treasure that continuously damaging the owner for a fixed amount. That effect wouldn't disappear as long as the player was still holding it. Even though you could recover your HP with normal spell, but it could only last for a few hours, or to be more precisely, it was impossible. However, in reality Himuri had done it. How did she do it? My brain really wanted to know. The effect of Corrosion Time, to player it was an inevitable item. The time limit, or to be more precise, if possible we should collect it last, the remaining time was to complete the game. Thinking about it, suddenly I remembered. Yes, it must be. There was play that wouldn't die when keeping possessive Corrosion Time. If there was, they were cheating, so it was impossible. If I assumed Himuri from the start was not a player, then what? Hey, Himuri. I got something to ask you. What is it? If it's a request from Haruchin, then I'll answer anything? Even if it was my 3 sizes, the kind of girl I like, and even my most sensitive spot. You. The truth is, from the start you had already known I was the princess, right? Himuri opened her eyes wide in surprise. Her breathing was rough, her lips opened and closed. A while later she started talking. What are you saying, Haruchin? That's no good. You knew you. After an action as if putting her hat down, Himuri crouched down and put her head on her knees. The gap between her arms let out small groans. That was right. If I tried to think about it, there was a lot of suspicious point. In order to have information, had to go by the guide myself. And the thing, she ignored the truth of Kumoi Haruka first time logging out. Also there was the frequency of meeting, as if she knew beforehand my location. And now, just to be sure. The information about the event in ROH. Himuri, do you still remember? That was the princess could not log out from the game? But, Ive said it before, that was completely not a guide? About that. It was to trick me. The real information deployed in the event was the opposite, that was the words two-faced princess, that right? The words two-face have 2 meaning. It was conspiracy, divide from the imperial, and inside the princess there are 2 people. Normally for the context it meant conspiracy, and the inside nobody would think of. However, both me and Harukaze, if we were chased by you, it would be very dangerous. But you didn't kill me. The reason was simple. From the start Himuri knew I was the princess, but even so, killing me was not needed. In other words, from the start she wasn't a player. There are 3 kind of people in this Ura-game, I told you that right. If you aren't NPC, nor are you player, then there is only one option left. The whining condition, you are the king's henchman, right? Himuri, Naihihai. Himuri's face suddenly became stiff and she heaved a sigh as if wanting to give up. Why? Humming, she stood up. Exactly. The real identity of Himuri Nanes is captain of the Imperial Guard with the role of playing as a player, or Toy could call me a head maid, someone who takes care of the princess? Is that right, my master? While saying so, Himuri held the hem her skirt, lifted it up a bit and bowed, greeting me. A very noble way of greeting. But I'd never heard of any kind of noble who exposed that slender thigh behind the skirt, which was 20 centimeters higher than her knees. However, the dark atmosphere before had been extinguished after that action. A just now depressed Himuri had become lively again. I am not going to expose myself. But Haruchin is really sharp. No, that was because you exposed corrosion time. If not for it I wouldn't know, maybe. But, if bringing it we could complete the game, right? Naihihai, actually I was set up that after I died I'll reincarnate right beside Haruchin. While talking to Haruchin I had died a few times? You gotta be kidding me. Therefore you held into that corrosion time, I answer in white surprise. Thinking of a strategy, applied it to the real life or when chatting with her, I felt like an idiot. I silently lowered my face, avoiding, and heaved a long sigh. Once again, my eyes and Himuri met. Can I ask you one more thing? You are not the player of ROC. Then you must be at natural position. Why do you help me so much? That is for me to decide. From the start my setting was the head mate of the princess was not a hostile position, moreover. Naihihai, if it was Haruchin you would understand? Or do you want me to spill two out? Nihi. You see, I am really worried about Haruchin. No matter if the inside was Harukaze-chan or Yuunagi-kun? Being told that directly I couldn't say anything. My cheeks blushed red before that enthusiastic look of Himuri. Other than that I don't have interest in nothing else, and then, she said something I felt like I'd heard it somewhere. Haruchin, have you heard of it? Spaya Ura-game, the place which is responsible for building the third advanced technology. There is someone who is at the top named Tendu Byakuya. At the age of 20, he rose to the position of chef of Spaya. He could be said to be a genius. Ah, I know. I met him once, a game master running all of Ura-game, Tendu Byakuya. It wasn't he, like I didn't know. He was a devil. Instead of granting my wish, he carved deep inside my mind an incurable wound. Unconsciously, I held my hand and bit my teeth on the soft lips. That's right. That's him. Not paying attention to my appearance, Himuri started to say excitedly. Game created by that monster genius had been completed by a player in a grand way with unimaginable speed. Even after a few months, there was no one who could obtain victory. But there was one player who could complete it in a week. A first recognition in Sphaya history, sympathy or irresponsibility. Because of that, all the player was stuck behind, some become disabled, some had mental instability, even though it was not related to the underworld BT. That game became the absolute recognition. The one who obtained victory perfectly or ended it was Yuunagi-kun. If not because of Yuunagi-kun, that game would never end. That an ending would undoubtedly drag in more victim. Naihihai, really you look like a hero. After that, it would be strange if I don't pay attention to you? How could I be not excited? Therefore I am really wanted to see you. I am really curious? Fu, only weirdo comes close to me. I am not like Izao-kun. It's just that following a cute girl like Haruchin would be really fun. I told you, from the start I don't want companion. While pointing, Himuri smiled. Naihihai. She was only standing one step in front of me. Even though it was not an intended action, but I felt like the atmosphere around me just changed. Speaking of which, Himuri was really good in sensing feeling distance with me. Hey, that ROC, it was a game created just for Harukaze-chan. His tone suddenly changed. It was like a whisper or a prayer. Or to be more precise, in order to abandon Harukaze-chan. The genius Tendo Byakuya has used all means to bully Harukaze-chan, to make her fear the game. She was born like that. Therefore, maybe the gap for Haruchin to finish this game is just as small as a needle hole. Naihihai, a good scowled face. Haruchin. I had thought about that thing. Because I am at a neutral position, I could spy Harukaze-chan from the shadow, but I couldn't become her ally. Therefore the only person who could fill that gap is only you, Yuunagi-kun. Right, is that right? Dear late prince. Himuri swung her twin tails. Even though her words sound jokingly. But her eyes were filled of challenging and were expecting something. Why was it me, though right now I didn't even care about it anymore? Himuri. Trade corrosion time for 6 rare spell and then buy it again. After that, confirm about synchronize. Even if re-enter the hidden treasure, you'll be attacked by cursed Madden killing warrior. Therefore we only need to use synchronize immediately in the effective range and we can complete the condition. Although it's a little different than the plan, but, counting the weapon shop owner, Himuri and Curse Madden killing warrior, then we got 3 people. Himuri blinked continuously when I returned the topic back to ROC. E2, Haruchin? I also don't want to talk about this, but IVE always lied to you, Haruchin? And you still want to travel with me? Don't need to disband the party. In order to defeat the enemy, this was the best time, and no, that's not what I mean. I mean, E2, mu. What is it now? Before a Himuri who was acting hesitantly, I became irritated and scratched the back of my neck. Damn it, I understood what she wanted to say, but you also had to understand it yourself. I was also embarrassed about this problem. Moreover, from the start she knew I was inside Kumoi Haruka. Only thinking about that I felt not good. My whole body right now was feeling really hot. However, doubting Himuri right now was unnecessary. Listen? It's not like I don't trust you or anything. Not like it's going to happen. However, if you are not a player, then for better or worse you are still better than others, right? I don't say that I trust you or want you to be my ally. If you refine with it, then follow me, Himuri. At least do it for the body of Kumoi Haruka. Right when I finished my words, upon Himuri's tears had begun to flow. Maybe, right from the start she herself didn't have any scheme. She looked down as if avoiding me and slowly wiped her tears with both her hands. And then, as if turning 180 degrees. Himuri had regained her liveliness, she hugged me and let out a smile. Nihihai, can T be helped? I am sorry. I can T become your partner. I just needed to copy corrosion time that I could deal damage on cursed Madden killing warrior is what I expected. I was shocked when I knew the inside was a handsome man like the librarian. The moment that nonchalant face let out a smile, it was like a punch to my face, a merciless punch. After that, there was a notice that said it allowed us to communicate through the device. After introduced himself as hero, and was the last of the king's henchmen, then he started saying in a calm voice. First of all, allow me to congratulate you too. I will be called out when the player completed the condition 3 allies. As usual, the condition needed to be completed will appear in point of my location. For some reasons the hero talk seemed instability. If it was right to what I imagined what came after that talk would be, however. That was the case of normal player and like that it would be simple. Till that point I could say I get it. Everyone can trust this group. That king is really terrible. But from the start, other than you, no one could come to my place, right? What do you mean? Even Himuri's true identity was exposed was complete coincidence, it was still a possibility. No. Don T, you hear it about her? The condition to add the captain of the Imperial Guard is player has to see through her true identity when she is disguising, and one thing never have an intention of killing the princess. Even for once, if the player wants to kill the princess they will lose the chance to become her ally. Therefore I also couldn't be passed. However, suddenly the hero voice became heavy. A tone talking about truth as if he was praying for passage. Once again, you being here is destiny. Now let us talk about the intention. I will become your ally? Fine, but even if I said so? When you have prepared to set me up. If you come here by force I'll fight back with force, ha? It seemed I was set up for doubt, that was always have to be careful of the scheming princess. From the start the condition was set up in order to camouflaging me, or to be more precise it was to avoid completion. So I am really sorry. You gotta be kidding me, right? Please don't misunderstand. I am only talking on the viewpoint of a hero, therefore I don't hate you or anything. Finishing in one-sided talk, I heaved annoyingly. This hastiness had not gained me anything. I crouched down and clutched my head with my hands. For a moment I lost my calm. Well, that was obvious. Camouflage. Camouflage? If what the hero said was right, the second whining condition was a trick. And therefore only one road that was pointed out, that was from the start there was no end point. Looking for 4 people, complete the rebellion army could not be completed. No, not only that. If so, then Kumoi Haruka will be completely isolated. The moment I realized it make my head want to scream out. However, alright. That right. With only a small amount of HP of Kumoi Harukaze couldn't maintain corrosion time. Because the problem of viewpoint she couldn't get the corporation from the hero. In short, killing the princess meant suicidal, but so before that it was game over. What is this? Why has it become like this? It's like from the start there's no way the princess could win. In this desperate time, I could only sigh and scream out. No. I knew that. I knew that very well. It was truth. Himuri said my chance of victory was as small as the Nidal hole. It was not wrong that this was the nature of Sphaya. However, unbelievable. I couldn't see my winning chance. It'd been a while since I felt this depressing feeling. Don T tell me that existence of Harukaze was set up as a prey only to be hunted? I don't understand what the heck Sphaya is doing? I don't. Boom, to reflect the pain of me punching the wall strongly, tears running on the cheek of a weakling like me. Player name, Kumoi Haruka. Collecting cursed hidden treasure status 1. Creating rebellion status 3. Status, whining condition 1 and 2, not doable. Do you want to commit suicide? Deny, Harukaze, I heard in the real world there is a place called school. Yukaina, no. Did you hear that, Nagi, as if you see it for the first time? Harukaze, I am only kidding. Of course I knew it. In fact, Ive always wanted to go to school. Anyway, since I got permission, I must come and see it. Ehe. I wonder what kind of place the school is. Underscore yuck ehe. And their essay note sound. Yua. Nagi had gone mad. Recently you really weird, but Nagi had really gone mad. Hey Nagi. Did you eat something weird? In recent days, Dante tell me it was my porridge. Why? Underscore Harukaze, mumu, no. Watashi, haven't gone mad or anything. Not that. Not mad or anything? I am completely fine. Underscore yuck instead of going to school, let us quickly go to the hospital. Nagi, you are not alright. From the start, Nagi isn't the type of people that wants to go to school. I also don't want to say it. But I felt you are different. Underscore Harukaze, is that so? I got it. Underscore yuck. What do you understand? Underscore Harukaze, if I could return the favor, by that way. Chapter 4, Turning Point Nagi? Hey Nagi. Why are you keeping quiet, what happened? Nagi? Nag 3? Can you hear me? Hey, Nagi, you dare ignoring me, you really brave. Moo. Really, what happened to you? If you keep on this, I'll get angry. The childhood friend who was walking next to me just keep being depressed, then pouted. Even though I felt a little guilty, but it was a shame I didn't have time for her trivial stuffs. Right yesterday, after that I had logged out, locked the door and just slept like that for the whole day. Of course I didn't need the approval of Harukaze. I threw away the role splitting with her. Even a little strength to read the swapping diary placing in front of me, I didn't have it either. Was I wrong in any way? Not matter how I thought about it in my head, there was only regret. I was wrong. Maybe so, surely I missed a key point. It wasn't like I couldn't save this situation. The method to deal with the hidden treasure? Or the order of conquering ally? No matter what, right now everything was not too late. But I needed to work it out first. Seeing me a bit absent-minded, yuck blurted out something. Murmuring, this is definitely Nagi. Ive went through the trouble of checking for it, now you have come back to normal. A little, just a little? Yesterday Nagi, maybe it's good demeanor. You look just like the old day Nagi though, what am I saying? I pointed my salted look at yuck who was saying monologue while blushing. What was she talking about? The subject yuck was talking of was so scattered I didn't get it all. Ma, it's alright, I put my hand to the back of my head as reflex and stopped thinking. Although, if I think about the things after then, maybe I need to investigate it a little carefully. Good morning. Good morning Tarumi. Tarumi-kun today didn't come late. Have you done your homework? You slow Yuunagi. Hey, did you watch TV yesterday? Gym class, tennis, today pair up with me. Though Nagi, you answered line really carefully. Ha! With a confused voice as I didn't understand anything, I put my bag down from my shoulders. It was still the class as usual. Still that amount of time. And I still opened the door without saying anything, however the still of today it was a bit different. I was welcomed with cheerful greetings. I was petrified before the scene which I could never understand happening right before my eyes. What are you doing Nagi? You blocking the way, quickly and go in. Or should I run away? A thought floated up for a moment, but because I was pushed on my back by yuck behind me I reluctantly had to jump in that weird atmosphere. In a blink, I was being surrounded as if I was a transfer student. The friends in my class all struggled to try and talk to me. The boy's expression was very friendly. It was completely not bad intent, but it was simply alike to curiosity. It was not like they were inviting me to something, it was as if expecting or caring about something. Those positive feeling made me very confused. If saying specifically, it was a normal day before of me who just lost his hope. This overly comfortable atmosphere, for me right now it was something really bad, and then I realized. It was because of Harukaze. I murmured. Right, if it was because of that, then this morning talk from Yukaina I could also understand. The me from yesterday, Harukaze, did something. Therefore the attitude from the friends from class had completely changed. But why Harukaze did that? She didn't want to be discriminated in class, or is it? Although she knew this me was being laughed at for having no friends, but she still did it? Really? As I murmured, the crowd had gathered, they became confused and said, what, right at this moment, if I gave up the feeling it would probably be a good thing. With that the worries in me would be removed, that uncomfortable feeling would be filled. If I accepted this simple happiness, maybe it would be a good thing. However, with me who was upset because of the desperate situation in that ROC game, I didn't need to think much, I had a very bad reaction. Shut up. Stop flapping your mouths anymore. Damn it, that girl. When I was desperate like this she always does something unneeded. How annoying, she just have it her way. I beg of you all, please don't involve with me anymore. While feeling as if the atmosphere in class had frozen up, I left my bag there and ran out of class. Wait up, Nagi. While walking through the schoolyard, suddenly there was a voice resounded from above my head. This is an emergency situation. It's painful. I am really interested in your story, but the you right now isn't very attractive. Or that's because, don't tell me it was because of those trivial things. Jumping down with her words, should I say exactly as I guessed, a mysterious person with a hooded coat, that right, it was Ruri-senpai. Only one step away from me, her eyesight was hidden inside that hood, was observing my expression. Because of feeling uncomfortable I turned away, avoiding her, while take care not to let my tone become shaking, as I said. How did you know about that? How, that is? Generally, I knew everything. If it was something I care, I'll coverage it. Senpai said with a tone which I didn't know whether it was joking or real. If the rumor was real, a character with this caliber was nothing strange. Then I got it, senpai. This is exactly the trivial stuffs. Because, I am not looking for anything about this. The action of me yesterday, it could be said to be as a mischievous joke. Just a seldom change of atmosphere. When I am bored I'll come back to normal. Is that so? Senpai? When I was talking, she had slowly stepped forward and came close to me since who knows when. Her position seemed like she was looking up from below. Her eyes looking through her bangs, I could sense anger, even weirdness with her voice which was as if being compressed. You think you could do that mischievous joke or acting like that in a serious way? No, about that up until yesterday. Senpai linked the words together when saying in a vague way. The evaluating words about you in class, in fact it was nothing different than the lowest of society. Even though there was no bully, but in your condition everyone was ignoring and shunning. And you had accepted it. That is, yes. Just as you said, even so that situation had turned around in only a day. Do you know what that means? The minus point you piled up in a few months or even in a few years up till now, but the positive point she gained had compensated it all. Senpai, how did you know? If only you didn't miss the part that you ignore. Hey, why did she act like that, rising above her destiny? Is that intervening into your life? Perhaps you didn't have any strength left to think about it? If it was true, then I had no interest anymore. A man like that is only a dull man. Gulp. Sorry, senpai. Suddenly I remember something, please excuse me. Ignoring those cold and sharp words, I lowered my head, avoiding just like that, and left. While running as fast as the wind. The key words inside my mind after a bit also disappeared. Transforming all the restraint in class. Acting like that. Mischievous joke. Harukaze's action. Intervene. An AI had done wrong everything, an action that exceeded the allowed of its limited rights. And that reason too. It was true, I had overstepped with a mischievous joke. It was as she had said. However, because I had to pay dearly, therefore it was not strange for a suitable reward. As long as Harukaze herself didn't have any good point, if thinking about me being looked down on as her target, it would be really logical. It was comparative and equivalent between one who was positive and the other was negative. I begged of you, Harukaze. Please tell that to me. If not, I'd lose my view about my personal value. TCH. The lips which I was biting on had turned violet. Therefore, I have received the help of Yukina-san and Ruri-san to carry out the strategy of helping people to understand what kind of man Yuunagi-san is. Although it was a normal thanks, but I want to try making you surprise a little. Do you know? The feeling of making people surprise is really great. I felt really fun and warm. As if my words for the first time had touched Yuunagi-san, therefore I was really excited. I always asked myself, if only I could feel happy just like that time. How is it? Are you happy? I didn't expect doing something for someone would be this nervous, but even so I only knew it now. A new discovery. It was wonderful. If Yuunagi-san felt happy about it, I'll try to be useful to you. I had crushed the paper I was holding since who knows when. I was simply an idiot. An unthinkable idiot. Harukaze was simply thanking me and acted on her bright naivety. That reason made me angry pointlessly. On my own I doubted, I threw away everything, and on my own made her hurt. I couldn't imagine what had I done. I straightened the letter which was written wholeheartedly, until now. Even until this moment, would I still going to be a spineless guy? Boring. This me right now was just a boring guy. Even Yukina and Ruri-senpai also said that. That was, of course, I did something contradict to Harukaze's feeling. Now if I gave it all up, the story wouldn't go anywhere. In my heart there were two opposite poles. One was not trusting humanity and the opposite. They were having mutual understanding and making me become unstable, and the one who lives in that unstable situation was Harukaze. Therefore, I couldn't give up right now. Just getting back home, I immediately returned to school. Sliding into class in class time, I attracted everyone's surprised look. I have done Dajiza to beg forgiveness. Sorry for yelling at everyone before. Just that I was a little upset, so I hope everyone would forgive me. Please be friend with me, and with her too. Please. The silence in a moment had taken hold of the classroom. After that, the laughter of everyone sounded. However, I think those laughter was not to ridicule. Be looking at the sight of him sliding into class in Dajiza of Nagi, I wondered, it reminded me of something of the past. Sasahara Yukina used to be very injured in a car accident. It was around 4 years ago. I was still in middle school. Deeply thinking and quiet, someone who was bad at communicating as me at that time didn't have a friend. Therefore, on that day I was reading book in my room, but suddenly my childhood friend had walked into my room by himself and led me out to play in the city. That childhood friend was Nagi. Tarumi Yuunagi. He always cared about my problems and always acted for others, someone who was precious to me. At that time, although I was reluctantly being dragged by Nagi, in order to not let me feel like I owed him. Seemed like Nagi used to say, "It's not like it was about you or anything. It's just that I want to do it." Right, fundamentally Nagi was at Sundara. The result. At that day when we were holding hands on the way back home, I found a stray cat which was a rare breed. It wasn't like I liked cat, but at that time, I chased him, or was it her, and ran into the road. Then I was hit by a big car. It was really stupid, right? And then, there was the voice of someone. The one reflected on my blurry vision. In the upside down scene, there was a cat looking at me worriedly, and Nagi was really shocked. I was held by him while laying on the ground, until the final moment. The voice I heard was only that of Nagi. Even though I couldn't answer him. After that, it seemed I was taken to the hospital of the medical university. I heard glimpse of the doctor who did my checking said. Although her life is saved, but her condition is still very dangerous. Maybe she can only hold out for a few more days. What is it? It was just like saying parting words. Was it so? My body at that time had become very weak. The tragic fate of a middle school girl. It seemed I was diagnosed that even if my life could be saved, I couldn't walk for the rest of my life, even talking would be difficult. Even so, right now I was still healthy. I didn't need to train hard or anything. Recovery was only a pipe dream, some very far away thing, but then in only 10 days since the accident, I was completely healed. It was just like a miracle. However, actually I knew the reason for that miracle. At the night of that day, on the patient bed, when there was no consciousness in my mind, I heard a strange voice. "You are a really lucky girl, you can thank him. Wrong, it should be his talent that saved you. It is because of that, he had been destroyed a little. I think who was he, although that man didn't mention about it at all, but, in short today, I waken up and become healthy after a long sleep." And suddenly I realized. Nagi wasn't here. I thought if it was Nagi he would surely be at my side, but I didn't see him at all. Even after the day I was discharged from the hospital he didn't come to get me. At that time I was being selfish and sulked. When I was told about the situation in the first 3 days, Nagi had stayed beside me all the time. However, after that he suddenly disappeared. He wasn't at home, nor at school, no one knew where he was. The after morning, he came back with a very bad expression. "Your face is really pathetic, you looked funny. Now you suddenly go back." At that moment, I was being angry. Because Nagi at that time, he was just like a demon who looked at life with half of his eye. At least he came to see me, therefore I tried to treat Nagi well. However, when I was discharged Nagi didn't come. After I gathered all my courage to ask, but he didn't answer. A lovable person like Nagi was suddenly isolated at school, and finally I realized. That right, the one who was destroyed was Nagi. Nagi had made a miracle to save me, for that he was destroyed. He didn't change at all, he still did as he pleased, always for others, because he sacrificed himself. I was happy about it, but it made me regret it a lot. Therefore I decided, even if I was refused, even if I was ignored or treated coldly by him, I would still try to be thick-skinned, knowing no embarrassment in order to keep being by Nagi's side. I had given up my timidity. Because only I knew how good a man Nagi was. Yesterday Nagi was not the real Nagi, I knew that. Because that person was not Nagi. Although they had the same appearance, but if he thought he could fool this childhood friend it was a big mistake. Well, no matter which Nagi it was, they were both good people. If I could meet him, I thought we could become friend. But, as expected, the Nagi which I liked was still this Nagi, I thought so when I looked at my childhood friend who was face down on the classroom floor. Too. It didn't have any strange meaning? It wasn't like I was craving wanting to conquer him or anything. What I was talking about was the situation of Nagi right now. No longer separating himself from everyone around, determined to be friendly, maybe he was ready to collide with other. I couldn't hold this flowing tears. What were these tears? Because the old Nagi had come back? Or because I knew the Nagi in front of my eyes was not himself? I didn't know. I didn't know what was this emotion. Shuni la Nagi vien kong thay ginh. In order to show Nagi, I waved my small hand and said, "It is okay, quickly and go, idiot." I couldn't log in ROC. After quietly slipped out of class, once again another strange situation occurred to me. No, it wasn't like I logged in with the intention of confirming. It was just that suddenly I was disconnected from the game. Right now I just went through a very embarrassed situation, so I wanted to come back there quickly, but no matter how much I wrote Z on the screen, it only showed one notice message: incorrect password. What the heck happened? Pressing down my rough breathing, I was still wearing my uniform, and just like that I ran to the urban area. I didn't know why I couldn't log in. Harukaze was being trapped in some special situation? Or she was killed by someone? I didn't want to think about it any bit. It wasn't like it couldn't happen. Because this me before didn't think of anything and used the last return. If this princess had game over, but Tarumi Yuunagi still wasn't damaged a bit, that was exactly what I wanted, but even so I couldn't be happy with this ending. It was only half a month and it was already ended. That's right. Gathering all me resolves, I put my hand into my pocket once again and took out my phone. This time I didn't open that lock wrong anymore. after I clicked into the icon of ROH in the corner of the app column. Ro has connection with ROC ____ using a desperate method. That link, if I was not mistaken, it was the story about guiding information. However, ROC was based on the worldview of ROH, and the setting like that wasn't wrong. Even though it was a fragile system, but if they linked with each other I could access it. There must be something? It's ROC, quickly linked to it. Continuing pushing the menu bar on the main screen of the game, after that smashing into my eyes were the categories. No matter what it was, everything was going smoothly. The message kind that connected to the device, as long as it could send message not having sound, was fine. Even if there was noticed of two worlds linked together, I didn't care. But that thing I couldn't see anywhere. Covering my eyes, I touched the menu bar again. When the sound flow of the game sounded, I continued staring at the screen. Searching mode? The 3D character I was interacting in the game had the status and card spell. It seemed it was working with the camera. The scenery was not animated but was the real world. I see, so I had to find it in this while playing this AR game. My knowledge increased a little. Though this is not the time for this spitting out those harsh words, I came back to the app. Speaking of which, the first time I logged into ROC the cause was because of wrong action. Really, how annoying. I stared back at the screen again. In this screen, there was someone swinging a large sword. It seemed he couldn't see me. But of course, that guy didn't have my vision. However, in the phone, because the screen was reflecting the real world through the screen, so definitely there was player existing inside. Don T, tell me. My heart beats strongly. Going along with my intuition, I activated search mode and looked around. Immediately, I found fighting traces, which could never have in the real world. Ah, that right. This was the key point. The AR mode of ROH is displaying the playground my ROC. If that's so, then I could definitely find Harukaze. While bringing ROC into the real world by reflecting on the phone, I ran with all my might. It'd been a while since I lost so much strength for someone. According to my memory, maybe it was 4 years ago. This me before, although he was someone who liked to interfere into others' business, but thanks to that personality I could get to the final boundary of the game. In order to save Yukaina when she was seriously injured in the accident, the game I participated until which I forgot myself diving into that malicious game, myself had been destroyed by them. If talking about not trusting human would be an understatement, it got to be that I didn't trust anything. All was the enemy, a bottomless darkness. Until I swapped with Harukaze. That innocent, bright to a fault of her had changed my viewpoint of value. To me, the existence of Harukaze was like the glorious sunrise. Something I had always waiting for, a thing that could purify completely that inside me. Moreover, compared to me, Harukaze's situation was much harsher, that which made her lose herself. Strong. In fact, she was really strong. Therefore this game was created just to make her mind crumble. Because of that, I will. I'll stay beside you until the very end, Harukaze. Giving up in a place like this doesn't like you at all. I apologize for leaving you alone. If you are upset about it, then let me make it up for you. Therefore, don't hide anymore, come out quickly. Let me take responsibility for it. I didn't care about my surrounding, and just like that I scream, and then I saw a familiar figure of someone inside the screen. Immediately, I blinked continuously as if I couldn't believe my eyes, then I stare at the screen again. That figure still didn't disappear. On the artificial river bank, where I cried the first time. And right now she was also crying, sitting down with her face on her knees as if suffering from something. Even though I thought of letting out my voice, I could only make a small one. After my face became beet red, I clear my throat, Kohan, once again. Hey, Harukaze, I started talking nervously. The girl inside the screen, maybe because she could see me, so she had just a strange expression. However, it seemed my voice didn't reach her. Maybe the voice didn't connect. We were so close to each other, but it felt like we were miles apart, this heart once again wanting to scream out. I couldn't meet her. I and Harukaze lived in two different worlds. No matter what I did, we couldn't meet each other. You idiot, don't give up easily like this idiot girl. Harukaze, it's me. Yuunagi, sorry for being late. What, are you angry because I came late? It's me, the one you first met. What is it, do you still not recognize me? We swapped with each other. You know someone in the swapping diary, don't tell me that is not enough. You and me was inside one body. In this ridiculous situation you are really strong, but let me apology for leaving you alone. After I said that, Harukaze twitched her shoulders. As she kept her wonderful silver hair from fluttering in the wind, she was looking around, blinking her big round eyes as if looking for someone. After a bit she looked at the emptiness and opened her lips. Could it be, is that Yuunagi-san? Ah, yes. Can you hear it? Can you hear me speaking? Yes, while nodding, Harukaze held her skirt in a polite manner, then she stood up. This behavior was completely different than me. Although her expression was a bit strange, but I felt Kumoi Haruka looked as if she was satisfied. Because it was swapping inside, so I could felt how she had changed. Harukaze looked around. Then she used her hands to wipe away her tears that were lingering on the corner of her eyes. As if not letting me see her appearance just now, she smiled extremely broadly. This is the first time, right? Yuunagi-san. Finally we were able to meet. First let me apology. The one who prevented Yuunagi-san logging in was me. Why moving the long chair nearby? Immediately Harukaze said. We sit down on the long chair, which was the same on the real world as well as the background world. Through the screen of the iPhone was a bit inconvenient, but for now we could talk to each other. So, could I ask why you did it? This is a little different to say. If it was Yuunagi-san, then you probably had known? A little. But I want to heard it from your mouth. Actually, I was a little annoyed. So you realized it? Harukaze in the screen was being moody. Her hands on her knees were clenched. She glanced at my place, where I was sitting, a few times, then looked away, avoiding as if she was collecting all her thoughts to speak. I heard a voice. It was Yuunagi-san's voice. That, maybe it was despair. Because on the front in the part we are linked, therefore, OT seemed we could touch the other feeling through the voice I see, so the imagination that I felt the first time was Harukaze's scream. And then? I felt the stagnation when completing the game of Yuunagi-san. That was despair. Therefore you thought Kumoi Haruka would game over. In order to not let it go any further, in order for the inside to not be me, you had locked all status O. As expected, Yuunagi-san is really sharp. No, don't change the subject at time like this. Harukaze became puzzled and started being moody again. Spy AI, the one who could interfere directly into the main compute of ROC and rewrote the login condition, to overpass this obstacle was a bit nonsense, but, in fact she had done it so it couldn't be helped. The problem right now was her intention. But as if sensing sorrow in my voice, Harukaze suddenly speak up. She clenched her hands, then she said in pain. It has something normal. An obvious thing. Because from the start this body is mine. Yuunagi-san is just unluckily involved. If so, the one that should be killed in ROC shouldn't be me, then who? Moreover, because I am an AI. The one who created me, no matter what they did or their own way, they certainly had their own views, I am sure of it. Although I don't want it, I don't want to die. Harukaze looked down in despair. Maybe she didn't want to show her face to me right now, her tears was dropping on her hands which were placed on her knees. I had enough happiness. When I was thrown inside ROC I was really lonely, even though I had to live in fear, but recent days I was really happy. Just remembering those moments, even if suffering from anything, I'd be alright. I will endure it. I can endure it. After that, Harukaze bloomed a bright smile on her tear-wrenching face. Finally I understood. This was Spia plan. First of all, they made Harukaze became panic and solitary, then used me as her hope. However, that was not enough. They created this false hope to put her into despair once again. A desperate person would surely seek out hope. Therefore, to carve deep in those negative emotion inside a pure AI, they assigned me into a role. Maybe this was to prepare for the next game, since when my cheeks felt like they were twisted, my hands clenched into a fist. Is that so? Making her doing that face in order. Just one, I only need to confirm just one. Saying while heaving a sigh. I felt very inhibited when I couldn't touch Harukaze when she was in this situation. Now matter it was the world or the other, even though I and Harukaze were here, but there was still a big distance between the two. However, only if my voice could reach you. That meant I was near you more than ever. You said I was simply got dragged into this, right? That you are wrong. Sphaya, or to be more precise, Tendo Byakuya had pointed exactly me. Just like you are being bullied by him, I am also someone who he laid an eye on. So it was completely not a coincidence, nor was it an accident or anything. You and I was destined to be a pair. But no buts. Because I was the one completed Ura-game before, so I was assigned to the role of feeble hope in this game. Of course, the setting is that I'll be beside you until you are taken down. However, the more I say the more I lose my calm. Plot? Script? What is that? Is that God? Hey Harukaze, you were really happy, right? You said the world here was really beautiful. You also said you were happy. Do you not want to continue that happiness? Do you plan to throw away everything that easy? Once you lose it you could never get it again. I by the way, I don't like it? Nobody likes an ending that didn't go as they want. Therefore let me ask again. Just once tell me. In the end, what do you want, and lastly, what do you believe in, using the line ID written in the notebook some days before? Even though at the time there was no clear answer, but right now she could run away from it anymore. Because, if you didn't tell me, how should I put this, I wouldn't have a reason to act. In a moment, Harukaze just stayed quiet and looked down. Her face looking from this angle was very serious. And then, suddenly she stood up and yelled. I still have a lot of things I want to do. I want to live now and forevermore, no way it's enough. Even if I am called selfish, even if I am called greedy, it's okay. Harukaze want to try, holding hands with Yuunagi-san. I really want to try being with you. I got it, my dear princess. Acting a little, I answer, my eyes met with Harukaze inside the phone. This hand couldn't reach Harukaze. Therefore I could pat her head. However, even so, these two worlds were connected through the phone's screen. It could be said as a magical connection, cross-connect. I and Harukaze had an unification just like that, the two back-to-back, a unique companion that couldn't be changed. While acting like a hero wannabe, from this moment I would no longer be a weakling. Because of that I smiled and declared loudly. Listen Harukaze. From now on we will complete this game perfectly. I would make Sphaya, Tendo Byakuya regret when choosing Tarumi Yuunagi to be Harukaze's companion. Player, Komoi Haruka. Status of collecting curse hidden treasure 1. Status of forming rebellion 3. Losing all whining Kanti Dion. Status, starting again to Yuunagi-san in the near future. When Yuunagi-san read this, maybe ROC had also ended. Just joking, I was only want to try saying that once. If you saw it at other time.
This audio originates from JupiterAudiobooks.com. The source of this audio is JupiterAudiobooks.com. If you are enjoying it, don't forget to visit the website for more exclusive content.
Don't take a peek? Because I am really embarrassing and also timid. But about the content of those words, I wasn't intent on joking. Because according to Yukina-san said Yuunagi-san was at Sundara, once Yuunagi-san has declared war, which was a proof you will attain victory. It is not like I want to make more pressure for Yuunagi-san or anything. It was just until the end, I would always trust in Yuunagi-san. Even though I was playing dumb like that, but you had probably figured it all. Yes, you right. The truth is I am very scared. Because I knew how scary Sphaya was, so even if how much I trust Yuunagi-san, scary thing is always scary. Therefore, I hope you could I would also be scared no longer. In order to not have the place for doubting, completing it perfectly or anything but please put an end to it. Chapter 5 Only one. After having understood Harukaze's intention, this time around, I continued log into ROC. Heading forward, the just swapped me. A bullet was fired at a perfect time. Ooh. While letting out a voice as if someone who had just fall out from the sky, I dodged it, escaping through a think hair's breath. Ah no, escaping through a hairbreadth was a lie. It actually went through my silver hair. Staring at the one who just attacked me, I clicked my tongue. I saw his look a little familiar. Izayoi Kazuki. Ha. Hi, it has been 2 days, right, Tarumi Yuunagi? Are you still healthy? Now then, goodbye. Izayoi laughed amusedly. While greeting, he aimed and fire. Continued firing. The metal bullet flew right past me and dug deep on the ground. TCH. This ROC game was definitely created to destroy Harukaze, but not only Sphaya was the enemy. The battle in PvP, that was the nature of Ura-game. There was no rule that said you couldn't attack the player that had just logged in. Of course, many people versus one would be considered dirty, but that scorn didn't have value in here. Kazuki-kun. What? What should I do now? The one who just spoke up next to Izayoi was Rika. Holding that extremely big sword that didn't match her height any bit, her appearance looked like a reluctant warrior. If I looked closely, I could see that small legs were trembling, her face was pale, and her fingers were clinging onto Izayoi's coat. On the contrary, Izayoi was only feeling annoyed and threw her in off. What, that much you gotta figure it all yourself? Just like you just graduate grade school what did you say? I myself am a high school I graduated higher than grade school. Stupid, shitty, Kazuki-kun is an idiot. Final grade school license, that hurt. That hurt, do you know that hurts, Kazuki-kun? Dante randomly throwing that gun. Shut up. As long as you could fight, that's okay. If you don't understand anything, just randomly swinging that sword, I'll back you up behind. Ha, if I did friendly fire, I'll take responsibility. That's not it. Friendly fire your head. What if you shot me? Ha, now then, Kazuki-kun, I also don't want to take all the price that's meant for someone who is extremely smart, I'll lose myself. Rika, that I know. This extremely violent, annoyed, and stupid of delinquent-san, that right, it was the kind of wall slam confession. Stop dreaming. Oh. Her head was being held by that big hand, a Rika who was groaning quickly crouch on the ground and tearing up. Different than Izayoi, it seemed maybe she couldn't fight. Staggeringly, she took almost 10 seconds to get to me. At this moment, ignoring the girl Rika, I focused my eyes on Izayoi and activated my device. Glancing through all the card in my card slot, there was totally 5. Other than Great Bondage and the Short Knife, I had 3 normal spell card enhanced teleport delay. With this much, I didn't have many options. Delay plus teleport was already exposed. In the worst situation, I had to use teleporto come to a random location. That was also a necessary factor. Gulp. While I was thinking so, in that moment Rika had aimed at me and used all her strength to swing down that big sword. Even if there was no strength nor muscle, but with my HP only need to touch it, I'd be blown away. My long hair flutter on the wind as I ran backward to dodge it. In no times at all Rika had become staggered and fell flat on the ground. However, when she resisted that fall meant I had guessed wrong. Why are there so many openings? Bang, that ridiculous gunshot resounded. The bullet fired with the speed of sound as if cutting the air. In order not to let it pierce my heart, I quickly ran to keep distance. After that I did an action that made my body look as if flying. It was no different than a gamble. Haya. I closed in and stepped on Rika. Thanks to that my posture changed a little. Right after that, I could feel the shockwave of the bullet passing at me in a close distance. Hayo, not bad Yuunagi, white. You really go at it, you, how dare you peek at other pantsu, I'll kill you. Ha, you the one who showed it. so pure. How freaking funny. Why pointed his gun at me? Izayoi continued whistle in a disgusted way. A completely confident face. To someone who self-proclaimed a game genius like him, this was just like child play. If so, then what should I do? What should I do to overcome this situation? Moo, moo mew moo. Even Rika had also stood up and made a posture as if mocking me. Ignoring that big sword, she started activating her device. And then, only in a few seconds, she started puffing her chest proudly. Foo. I am not an idiot. Comparing to activating a spell normally, I also know how to use it. Because I saw Kazuki-kun did it, so I also know how to use it. Hey Rika, do what I did? Idiot, don't do that. Cast enhance plus speed. Now to pick up the weapon. Ignoring the warning of Izayoi. Rika just like that rushed in to attack me. Enhance plus speed, a useful combo, helped to enhance speed and attack. Thanks to that, holding weapon didn't become hard anymore. With that demeanor, she became a different person. However, to someone who wasn't used to fighting like Rika, she would definitely didn't understand it. The spell card status increase, the bigger the effect, the bigger the punishment when the effect wears off. Cast enhance plus delay. Yeah. What is this? So heavy, what this weapon is so heavy? Along with my cast, a Rika who had just functioned flawlessly continued to tumble down. The combination of enhance and delay. Its effect was lower SPD to the lowest, or was it remove all enhance? Well, whatever it was, she couldn't move anymore. Ha! Really? Didn't I tell you so? Okarika, as he had already guessed my move, Izayoi didn't become surprised and only heaved a sigh. Provoking a groaning Rika who was complaining UW. He didn't look any tired as his fighting strength was lower. Wait. That couldn't be, Aria. Looking at that scene, my light of thought suddenly moving in a dizzy way. I put my hand behind the back of my head as a habit. No. Not right. Lower fighting strength? That was completely not it. Because, Izayoi knew too well Rika could never fight. But he took the trouble of leading her here. For what? Even if it was to collect hidden treasure, or even if that was he kept stalking Tarumi Yuunagi, letting Rika follow him doesn't have any meanings. If it was worrying about what happened before, he should have avoided letting her log in. Then it would be simple. Izayoi intention was to drag Rika into my side. In order to make her submit to me, he kicked off a PvP. Hey, don't tell me you AA? As I head up with my just realized theories in my head, he answered me with a weird voice. His voice was as if being restrained. What is it? I was about to complain with him like that, but Izayoi had moved his eyes to the position as if it was his command. Hey. You are Rika, right? Me? That's right. Do you have anything, Edu? Next time, if we meet each other in the real world, I'll apology to you. If possible, I'll treat you to barbecue meal. Edu, I know, if you didn't say it clearly I wouldn't understand, but I have a bad feeling, like I have to quickly run away, or this person's cute face is really scary. Please die for me as expected. Not minding Rika's scene, I stabbed her through the chest. As she received a fatal blow, she dispersed into particles. Now she probably wouldn't feel any pain. And now, nothing could stand in the way of Izayoi Kazuki. Really, what a guy with horrible hobby. Because his type was bad, he didn't seem to be affected in any ways. I stayed silent, as I pointed the tip of the short blade to Izayoi, who was smirking provocative. I just answered to make clear of that annoying situation. You also don't have any intent of killing me, right? Pufu, Koku, Kahaha? Because no need to be on guard. Izayoi started hugging his belly and laughed. Then I fixed up my card slot. Exactly as I predicted, the card I got from Rika after PvP La Press into the void. Completely not the kind of normal or rare spell, it was a cursed hidden treasure card. From the start I had felt it was strange. If you re serious, then you would never fight while I was missing card, and then you went easy on me was pretty obvious. It was exactly as you said. Nothing is wrong. But the reason? You know I am someone who hates losing. It also wasn't my swinging moods that I let go of a battle. I knew that. Because Rika was for me to kill her. While spitting out those annoying words, I felt his AOI laughing tone had become heavier. Oh, why should I do that first? You and her had planned to quit this game. And second was even more simple. You want to annoy me. What kind of harsh tone is that? It's your period? What, you battle-crazed hentai now, this is the real reason. You had arranged it so that Rika, who was holding press into the void, being defeated by me, and indirectly putting it into my card slot. That means you pretend to transfer it. Is there anything wrong? Transfer, or to be more precise, it could be said that he wanted to repay the debt with me. That meant this guy, he planned that sneak attack was to repay the debt related to Rika. No. It's exactly as you said. Saying so as AOI rose both of his hand up tiredly. A hidden treasure card. I don't know if this much would help you. But, before IVE said it, this thing belongs to personal value. So I had planned to give it to you since before. Quickly bow down and show your gratitude, you cosplay freak. I said it was not like that. Anyway, thank you. Then from the start you should give it with a bit more sincerity. What are you saying? That would be boring. A real battle would be saved for another time, but, just now, in order to see how much have you seen through my strategy, I also deploy a battle at the same time. But I couldn't believe in the end I was still exposed. As expected of Yuunagi, you definitely are my only opponent. You a delinquent like you could say something like that. Saying words like opponent doesn't suit you a bit. Shut up. Hi Al. Since who knows when, his AOI had came close and put his hand on my shoulder, because I couldn't help it I let out a voice like a girl. What kind of cute squeak is that? How ridiculous. Moo, damn it, shut up you pervert. Dante, put your hand on my shoulder and close your face and stay away. Kicking his AOI, who was grinning widely before my reaction. After that I pushed him away with all my strength. I was no good. The feeling as if I was about to be eaten, I didn't feel like talking about it. While I was being angry and hold down my continuously beating heart, his AOI waved his hand annoyingly and turned his back. Yeah, just do as your highness wants. Well, you don't need to tell I am going back. I just leave Rika there and made her sad. That then, let fight some other day, Yuunagi. His AOI turned back after he heard me making a small sound. Even though I didn't have any intention, but I had already called him. No intention? Not really, how should I say this? Actually there was a little intention, but it's just that I deny myself for a few years, so I was hesitated to admit it. However, now I didn't need to hesitate anymore. Right now I needed to move forward. If it was this me that was influenced by Harukaze's purity, I could definitely do it. Therefore, wait, as I spoke up, once again my throat trembled. What, you have something to tell me? No, calling it something, but actually, right. There is something I want to ask of you. As if feeling like there was something behind my words, his AOI turned back and made a serious face. Although a little stuttering, but I was trying not to look away. Lend me a hand, huh? His AOI seemed stiffened, his face looked as if a pigeon being hit by a rubber bullet. This was the first time I saw it. Although I felt a little let down with that reaction, but suppressing my spirit or letting go of both my hands and looked down. If I did that, it meant I had already gave up. I couldn't let it happen. I said, lend me a hand. Is that okay? I had a way to finish ROC. A way to do it. But I alone can't finish it. Who, then? Since, though it was a little reluctant, but I want to call for your aid, is AOI Kazuki. That's what I mean. For a short minute, is AOI only observed me without saying anything. A quiet atmosphere. Because I was becoming impatient, I was about to complain to him. Suddenly I felt a very familiar laugh from him. Kaha. What? Something make you changed? That look is different than before, don't no, how should I say it? It was still me as usual, don't mind it. Ma, it is fine if you want me to lend a hand. Instead of it, this time you also have to help me. That is fine. I will definitely repay this debt. By the way, what do you want me to do? Nothing special. Just that, someone wants to bend my will. A very interesting guy. I couldn't care about his failure, but I definitely want to forgive that Tendu Byakuya guy. A greedy man like him is definitely no good. He always asks for too much compensation. Oh? The way you confirm it is good. Koku, kahahaha. Interesting. Even if you were bluffing or not, other than me there was another idiot wants to defeat Tendu Byakuya, as expected this world is still not worth giving up. Izao said it with full interest and bring his right hand fist in front of my face. After acting a little puzzled, at the same time I denied his words with the only fool is you. Then I punched at his feet with my small fist. And then, both laughed as if those who were scheming something. You two are really close, Haruchin and Izao in conclusion. The time when counting Izao as a teammate then, the collecting of all of hidden treasure had finished. From the start, if only need to steal hidden treasure it wouldn't be any difficult. If Izao had a good skill in this game the chance of losing in a PvP was very low, and the opponent also lost one slot because of keeping a hidden treasure. Even if the enemy could return, but if sneak attack the chance of success was pretty high. In fact, thanks to those godlike actions of Izao that in a blink of an eye we had obtained the final hidden treasure. However, the problem was the opposite. Collecting 5 cursed hidden treasure scatter across the wall, then offer it to the old altar, the main point was the latter part of the whining condition. The thing about not being able to trade card without going through the weapon shop in this game was a big barrier. Yuunagi. Now you should tell me. How are you intend to win this? In the dining area inside the shopping center outside of the weapon store, on a table for 4, Izao said immediately after he crossed his legs on the table, that style that ought to be said extremely impolite. I had think carefully about it, in the end it was still a dead end. It finally come here, don't tell me you would say you don't have any plan that is right. Haruchin Himuri, who was eating crepe sitting right next to me, also said. Now we have to depend on the weapon shop, don't talk while you re-eating. Because feeling a little tense I heaved a sigh. However, it was exactly as those two had said, a worthy concern. The final big wall that was preventing us was the players who were aiming at the cursed hidden treasure to finish the game. And now all 5 hidden treasures were here. Saying all, but actually I myself couldn't carry them all. Hunted evil was being held by Izao, mine were great bondage and pressure into the void. And about Himuri were corrosion time and deadly mist trap, we 3 divided them evenly between us. Why don't we unite them right now? Maybe that was the first thing everyone thought. However, if looking at the effect of each cursed hidden treasure, surely everyone would have a headache just like us right now. Hunted evil reveal to all player about your card slot and map location. Great bondage, you cannot log out from the game. Pressure into the void consume 3 of your card slot. Corrosion time make you take 10 damage every 5 seconds. Deadly mist trap the first time you obtain this card, your HP will turn to 0. With all this we couldn't finish the game normally. I complain with a wry smile on my face. No, actually, the only bad point was only at one card. If we could remove deadly mist trap then it wouldn't be a deadly point. Because that deadly mist trap, if we took caution and deal with it with a rare spell card revive, only one and it'll become harmless. However, the problem would still be once you have it. It was like this: the player who had gathered all the card, then he stay in the condition of having no slot left slot, continuously taking damage until he died, and then he had to get to the altar. No, don't you say it as impossible while resting his head on his hands which were at the back. Izao spoke up without the feeling of annoy or anger. For now you could hold materialized weapon, but the spell used in PvP you couldn't hold any, right? At that time I was simply become a target. Also going from the weapon shop to the altar was also very far. Knocking on the map with his silver finger ring. Looking at his fingertip, it was the location of the altar that was reflected on the map was no way near from here, across the several kilometer long river, and have to walk a bit more. Opposite to me right now, even if bringing all these hidden treasure I couldn't make to halfway of it. Really, is AOI side with hints of getting bored. Though, from the start your weak physic is really bad luck. You only have 50 HP, just a little touch and you could die. Right. However your speed is rather high, you only need to become an athlete who ran at the speed of 200 meters per second then wouldn't everything be solved? Kaha, as expected I am a genius. Are you stupid? How could I do that Momumu__. Ah, right. Interfering into our looks as if they were fighting of me and his AOI, a loud sound came up as the chair tumbled. Over there was a Bishjo, Himuri with a triumphant face had stood up since who knows when. Maybe because she pounded up too hard that she pushed the chair down. E2. Naihihai, there's still some cream. Chiu Pa and for some reasons, really for some reason she started licking her fingertips. Saliva. She licked it as if licking candy, she was putting it in exposing her soft lips. It was normal since both boys became silent when seeing that sight, we cleared our throats and looked the other way. Ehem. The sky is beautiful today. Because I was indoor I couldn't see the sky much. What happened Haruchin? Are you looking at me? Just now you looked at me intensely, right? No. Nothing of that sort. I was only playing stupid competitive game with his AOI. Though, if you got dirty you only need to wipe it with a tissue. Naihihai, Haruchin not only honest but also cute too. Himuri commented on me with hard to understand words. She bloomed a mischievous smile and sat down, then she spoke up as if remembering something. Something like this? This is only an idea. Anyways we have 3 people here, why don't we divide and deliver the hidden treasure and then rendezvous at the altar? A good idea, right? That we could do. But, how? The one who answered honestly was his AOI. Himuri blinked her eyes and continued talking. It's like, first we let Haruchin hold great bondage, void and deadly mist? I and his AOI Kuan will hold the remaining 2 cards? Then it'll be finished. Even if the card hunted make us be reveal it wouldn't be dangerous. Corrosion we could use recover, so it wouldn't be a problem. No, that's the problem. Transport them to the hidden treasure to the altar? The place where there is no weapon shop, then how? If it was that easy we wouldn't be this troubled. Are you planning on doing some magic? You then, if so then deprive right. Himuri lowered her head in depress. If it was inside a manga, except the not possible to execute, then her recommendation would be a perfect strategy. Therefore somehow it'd be a simple method, from the start to obtaining deprive was really hard. According to the cold blood librarian Hegg said, deprive was a rare spell card that there were only 9 remaining in this ROC. In order to not have any bad effect to the owner, if it was weak the collecting of hidden treasure would be very hard. In contrast with Himuri who was being silent, this time as AOI spoke up. Then let me ask, not with deprive, but it was in a PvP then what? Comparing to the method of deprive then letting Yuunagi kill us both wouldn't change anything sorry, that wouldn't work. Because, I am not an official player? Therefore even if I was killed the card wouldn't drop out, something like that. Is that so? How annoying. How about we let Yuunagi hold 4 and me hold 1, no, that wouldn't work. Holding all 4 including hunted evil then it wouldn't be any different than a suicidal action, and you couldn't hold corrosion right. Sighing tiredly as AOI closed his eyes. Looking at his swing legs had become heavy, I felt now I had to use my brain to the full extent. The curved smile he usually had on was no more, instead it was a serious expression. Looking at an angle he looked like he was ridiculing himself. Now there's no meaning in diving anymore. Although I don't know any other transportation method, but at least I could ensure if only bringing this hunted and go to the altar. No matter what the card effect is it couldn't obstruct me. Also this is not a game for one person, we also need to mind that you rewrite. If completing the game in that condition we wouldn't be praised. The action of the players were also troublesome however, I wouldn't mention about it. The expression of annoyed, the words to praise in this situation. Though I didn't want to praise her at all. You, I don't understand anything. Nay, what's the meaning of this? Haruchin Himuri started become impatient and looked me. That bright eyes hidden beneath her red hair looked as if they were hoping for something. And the guy Aoi seemed to have surrendered. He annoyedly shrugged his shoulder. That means? He was leaving all the answer to me after I collected the mess in my head. I started talking. It's as Uve said. Surely I couldn't finish this game. No matter how breakthrough it is, this is still impossible. Therefore, the one who will complete it would be me, and then, the girl with the twin tails blinked in surprise. Himuri, it's you. I realized the setting of Himuri is the one who could guarantee this role the most, holding my beating heart deep within me. I started explaining to break the silence atmosphere. When dying you won't lose card and also teleport to right next to the princess. Or to be more precise, you are an exception case that could appointed as the destination. If so, then it's simple, right? Other than using the weapon shop to obtain the card, Himuri could defeat his Aoi in PvP to obtain hunted. Then you only need to time for Kurozianto kill yourself. Before that, Kumoi Haruka would go to the altar, and then we could complete the game. Ooh. Only as Aoi expressed his amazement. Completely opposite than him, Himuri became shaken and removed her hands from me. What are you saying, Haruchin? If we do that, you'll be executed. That was only in the condition if there was a player, that fulfilled the condition. Therefore no way the princess would be killed when her partner is doing a revolution. Sphaya would never overlook such script like that? It is true, but I am not like player. Even though I didn't participate in this game, I could also finish it. The one who could fulfill one of the condition the fastest will be the victor in this game. There are the total of 100 betrayers, including you would be 100, Edu. That was the first words of ROC? What's the matter? The one who fulfill the condition the fastest win. There are 100 players, You rewrite. It is so. Before Himuri, who was being confused, Aoi started talking as if laughing. The one who fulfill the condition will win, but it didn't say exactly who. If only need to complete the condition, then even dog can be a winner. Something like that? Exactly as so. In this ROC it doesn't matter if it's player or NPC, everyone could complete the winning condition. But. It seemed Himuri couldn't follow this unbelievable story. She became confused, and her mouth kept opening and closing as if looking for information to deny it. Right, the reward. If I completed, Haruchin wouldn't receive it. Kaya interfering her words, I put my hand on her thin shoulder and pulled her in. Hayu, staying near me, was whistling annoyingly. Because of that, Himuri inside my arms had become stiffened, also her cheeks had dyed red. Because we were both girls, so it was okay. While chanting that line in my head from time to times, I started telling her straight. Even so, even those thing. Only you could do it, Himuri. Lend me a hand. The one who should complete this ROC is you. She couldn't spoke up. Only a small sound was enough to break this quiet atmosphere. Himuri just like that stiffened her face without saying anything. After a few minutes passed, she let out a groan which I didn't know if it was breathing or voice. Oh, what happened? Wait up, Haruchin, right now I am really confused. I am really nervous? No one had ever pulled my chin up like that. What should I do? Come late? Why am I the one who come late? Suddenly it was beating so much. Nay, do you want to try it? Haruchin, touch it too? What are you saying, idiot? Maybe she was too excited, and here I was being worried about her like an idiot. Gulping down the water cup in one group, I immediately stood up to deal with everything. The rest was left to Himuri, then it would surely be done. And then, right. In the final moment of ROC, maybe I should leave it to the real princess, right? Anyway, it wasn't over. While resting my back to the weapon shop wall, I was waiting for the next order from Yuunagi-kun. Next to me, Aoi-kun looked free, although I didn't care much about him. From the start, the connection between Aoi-kun and Sphaya was complicated. As the role of Himuri Nanes it wouldn't like I hated Izao-ikun, but I felt like I couldn't bring myself to like him. After lowering my head to avoid his look, a very interesting scene entered my eyes. They were piled up, or to be more precise, a lot of weapons were piled up. This was also one of the secret plan of Yuunagi-kun. Although it was a story from before, but because the cost of one cursed hidden treasure was 18, so trading in the weapon shop you need 6 rare spell card with the cost of 3. And the limit of card slot was 7. No matter what, after the third hidden treasure it wouldn't be obtainable through the weapon shop. That right, normally people would give up. But it seemed like Yuunagi-kun had realized it. There was one exception with trading in the weapon store, it was the weapon. If you materialized the card you could freely brought them together, we wouldn't lose card slot and could keep them with the same cost. Hey there! Aren't that a wonderful thing? Of course, in order to born a high amount of recovery would have to fly a lot of time, but it was only a small problem. Because, that trick even the uncle, the shop owner, didn't know. As expected, Yuunagi-kun was a player that even Sphaya also couldn't predict. Therefore before I became petrified when I heard his enthusiastic confession. It seems we would complete it perfectly through the AR system and ROH, Yuunagi-kun had said those words to Harukaze-chan. Just remembering it I felt nervous. Yuunagi-kun was really interesting. He was even beyond Tendu Byakuya, the one who was called the demon genius of Sphaya. That was great. If it was like that I definitely must witness it. No matter what happened. The method to win with all the turnaround of Yuunagi-kun, even I couldn't see that coming, really? Someone who had been inside ROC from the moment it opened like me, I couldn't interfere in the game system to help Haruchin. That right, Haruchin, it was the girl Cyberbrain Shinki number 5, Harukaze, bug number, code Epsilon, Cyberbrain Shinki, or that was an AI owned by Sphaya, the series born with a special background. Although I didn't know clearly, but the genius group that was called the head of Sphaya had all brought ideas together, and the resultant abnormality had been born unexpectedly. One of which was Haruchin. And then Tendu Byakuya, because he was too obsessed about the plan, so he had started scheming something with her. ROC was exactly the reason for that. It seemed it was to use Haruchin's special ability or something. Even though I had accidentally heard, but I didn't understand what kind of strange thoughts flew in that man's head. Though I wasn't very interesting about that. Because, from the start I didn't care about the content of ROC, no matter what. Tarumi Yuunagi would finish that game with this maniac difficulty somehow. After that, incoming message. Maybe it is time. While holding off those thoughts, I picked up a sword at my feet. Then gathered all the remaining weapons to make trading material, to trade 2 cursed hidden treasure of Yuunagi-kun. And then I had to aim at Izao-ikun's chest, who was standing in a kind of stylish stand. Nihihai, if you feel hurt then sorry? I was only planning on joking a bit to lessen the atmosphere, but Izao-ikun only frowned his eyebrows. He smirked and said with a mocking tone as if looking down upon me. Are you stupid? I am ready for everything the moment I step foot into this Ura-game since a few years ago. Don't prolong it anymore and finish it, stupid maid girl. As expected, I hate this guy. Kiowa Pu, in the case of dying I'll be reborn next to the princess. After following that setting and immediately move, a faint sweet scene had covered all my body. A little late, but let me explain about the situation. That was. I hugged. And kissed. I buried my head into Haruchin's C-cup basam. Fumu. Nihi, this is unavoidable, right? Funi, stop high in a moment. Haruchin's face had become beet red, only the action of pushing me away was extremely cute. If I lost control for a bit I'd fallen already. After satisfied my craving, I let go of her. Avoiding the look as if crying plus a bit of scornful of Haruchin, I looked around playing dumb, on this small hill, probably. A place with comfortable wind blowing. Other than me and Haruchin there was no one else. There was something like a pedestal placed in the middle of this sacred place. No, not look like it, but it was it. Right, I was a very smart girl. The legendary sword was an exhibit that was placed there. It looked like it was dragged out from a RPG game about medieval age. As I expected, it's an altar. After nodding satisfyingly before my talent, I turned around staring into Haruchin's eyes. Nai hi. It has been a while we haven't talked to each other, yes, Himuri-san. Though, there's no other way. Himuri-san is the people from Sphere Wonder white silver hair flying in the wind, Haruchin called me by the sakura color lips. After she laughed shyly, see, cute. Cute to the point I wanted to commit a crime. I was extremely wanted to eat her. However, a pity right now I didn't have the time. Therefore I wasn't allowed to do any trivial stuffs. How is it there? Swapping with Yuunagi-kun, going to the real world and fought against Arosi, Sphere, how did it go? That was a question full of question. In any way I would still bend everything, even if I belonged to the 3rd Technology Development Department of Sphere. Because I was Tendu Byakuya subordinate. I couldn't deny it. But, even so, I felt very relieved when I saw Haruchin bloom to smile. I didn't care when my heart become flinch before her, because that was my hobby, that was the true. Therefore, yes, I was happy. No, Itu, that's wrong. I am happy. Even now, or even afterward I'll always be happy. Nai-hi, is that so? That's good. While I was shaken before her answer, I took Haruchin's hand and walked to the altar. Then I raised my device. Completion condition started by offering the device to the altar, with all the cursed hidden treasure inside. The scarlet sword sealed by the first king had awakened before my eyes. In general, a sword with the words "looked like a flame" carved on suddenly appeared. Wah-ah! Seemed like Haruchin hadn't heard anything from Yuunagi-kun. She opened her eyes wide looking at the sword. Looking like that only made me want to protect her more. This mischievous heart was beating non-stop. Haruchin. Since you are already here, pull it with me. But, is that alright? Shouldn't the one who complete the condition pull it moo? What is it, Haruchin? A weak girl like me couldn't possibly hold this sword. You mean you want to see it crash on me? Wah, I can let that happen. Let me help too. I hold tight on the handle with the puzzling hand of Haruchin. As expected it was really heavy. If wanting to use it again we had to set its weight in a more suitable measure, well, whatever. We used all of our might to pull out the scarlet sword and ended this world, ROC. Non-player alias, Himuri Nane. Status of collecting cursed hidden treasure 5. Status of forming rebellion 3. Status, confirm obtain scarlet sword, complete the first winning condition 1 finish ROC. I returned home after logging out of ROC. A bit afterward, suddenly the phone inside my pant pocket rang. It was just a notice. To be more precise, it was a message noticing the ending of service of ROC. Now even if I tried I couldn't connect to the playground of ROC anymore. Even the AR mode of ROH was the same. No matter how I looked through it, I couldn't see any trace of fighting. The only thing reflected was simply my lovely real world. That right, ROC had ended. The end result was a revolution by the captain of the Imperial Guard, Himuri, just need to be her partner and the princess would not be executed. Not a bit of doubt, this was a happy ending. An end without loss. An end, but it didn't seem right? It was true that Harukaze wasn't aimed at anymore. However, because existing in that game she would be left in there. And then, once there was no ROC anymore, I and Harukaze would have to cut that fragile tie of R. If so then whether completing the game or not didn't have any different. Striving your best in vain, you did a good work. That. From now on the princess will live happily ever after, how joyful. Guess that couldn't be said for sure. While complaining I opened the swapping diary. Skipping the pages about the effort of Harukaze in the real world, looking at it I only wanted to smile wryly and then, I stopped at the final page. Comparing to other pages, the line in it wasn't too long. One line with house address, capital, district, city. Living address from somewhere with postcode in a polite manner. Right below that was a thick line, Hard to believe since from birth my fingers could write these pretty words. It was written like this. You definitely have to come and save me. Haha, because the influence of Yukaina? Harukaze was also started become thicken. Moreover, she knew clearly my personality. Though, from the start I didn't have the intention of backing down, but even so I was suddenly being asked for help. Closing the book, I breathed in deep and made a challenging smile. Just you wait, Tendu Byakuya, right now I am coming to your place, I am gonna take Harukaze home. Holding the page tore out from the book, while I was walking near the park, there was a voice coming from above my head. You, wait up. Bop, the sound her gentle landing. The scene of jumping down from the tree was all too familiar. Ruri-senpai came close to me with a twisted mouth in discomfort. While backing down a little, I raised one hand up and answered. You relate, senpai. I am waiting for you, Ichim. You don't look surprised at all. She tilted her head wondering in a bored manner. The lollipop stick in her mouth also changed position. And you were waiting for me? It seems you have guessed that I would appear, right? Or are you hoping so? If it were the later I'd be happy. Both are correct, but if talking about the most correct, it would be the former. Because, wasn't it you who sent the invitation? And I was just normally walking out. Invitation? What the heck are you talking about? That's enough, Himuri. She stood motionless before my sure as heck words. Her cherry-color lips were opened in bewilderment. I extended my hand to touch her head and slightly brush. Now there is no need for playing dumb. Though, using impolite speech with you seems kind of strange, Kaya, and then, I brushed of that hood. Ruri-senpai covered her up with her hands as reflex, however she was not fast enough, that lovely face had been exposed. As what I expected other than the color, even her figure and face was exactly like Himuri Nane's. You evil, suddenly brushed off my hat in front of everyone like that. You wanted to play like that? Really, what a pervert. I didn't do anything, senpai. I only want to confirm. That's the reason for you to take off a girl's cloth? Then would you pull the skirt of some trap and tell them I want to confirm whether you are a girl or a boy? By the way, almost never have I let down my hat when going outside. This is my first time. My first time. I am sorry, good, she nodded and let it go, however. Although it was a glimpse, but I saw her smile. Maybe her mood had gotten better after bullying me. Turning and twisting the candy inside her mouth, she heaved a sigh. And her neck hung down looking as if having no strength. You right, extremely right. I was the one inside Himuri Nane's. But, since when did you realize? I didn't intend on exposing myself. About that, to be more precise, from the start, I felt the viewpoint of value of Himuri and you are very alike. Only with the line not interested alone I could have guessed somewhat, and your style was also unique. That's strange, really strange. Didn't you also know about Harukaze? Moreover, someone who cared about me in the real life there was, except my family and Yukaina, only you. It was that exclusion method. I see. Because your relationships are little, you can easily guess I was the culprit. Ruri-senpai looked at me and smiled wryly. Even though it was a bit different than usual, but... Afterward she smiled her typical smile, nai-hi. A person who was very fitting with a mischievous look, maybe because she was with me all the time, her facial expression since when had been released. And then senpai, no, Himuri took off her hat. Looking at that silky black long hair, I became petrified for a moment. I've been seen through. Once again I've been exposed by you? It can be helped since I was exposed. I am the head maid that was pretending to be a player, Ruri-chan, in the body of Himuri Nane's. Nane's no, not like I didn't hear you. Maybe my answer was a bit anticlimactic. That couldn't be helped. Suddenly there was a bishjo with a dangerously long black hair making a yakapasa pose, and she also stuck out her tongue as if adding a. It completely made me dead quiet. Therefore I could only answer like that. Well, she looked cute. Though, why must you acting like that? If you don't wanna be exposed, just keep that hat on, you rewrite. That's right, but I couldn't stand before other without my hat on. Ha! Because, if I don't cover my face it'd be embarrassing, if so I couldn't go outside. Also couldn't talk to other. But in game if I just kept wearing hat I'd become a suspicious person? Therefore I have to change my personality. To become a vivacious, perky and calm. She smiled happily, as if she was imitating the old anime. She looked kind of funny, but even if I said that, if it was Ruri-senpai she would definitely answer something like is that so? Therefore Haru-chin. And then. Suddenly she said in a harsh voice as if punching into my eardrums. As someone who had a wonderful sense in sensing distance. In a moment, a heat wave as if burning everything had manipulated the surrounding. You have it? A plan to not make me disappointed. The twinkling eyes were looking filled of hope. Ma, you just watch. Coming to the location of Harukaze as the guide of senpai, there was a big house built in the corner of Tokyo. Through the door I went to the reception. In a moment after seeing me, the receptionist woman had made a very surprised face. She immediately picked up the table phone. Not long after, there was another strange woman who looked like a secretary appeared from the elevator which had just come down. Then she told me please follow me and then, I and senpai were brought to the highest floor of the headquarters. On it was a big space. Inside there were PCs lined up on the table linked with each other, all were being used as if calculating for some kind of equation. The job looked like making a big map of the world with the smooth movement of those cubes. A scene which could be called as extremely magnificent. However, on the contrast with that big and grand, inside this headquarters it was completely empty in a human sense. Maybe, normally this place was used for researcher but at least, right now there was a man standing in the middle of the room. A white suit without any stain. A tall, slender build. Elegant. Silver hair neatly with shoulder hair long. He smiled on the corner of his mouth as if having both calm and might. A genius like no other. Tendu, Byakuya. Ah, it's me. And you must be Tarumi Yuunagi-kun. Welcome to the Office of Third Technology Development. I am Tendu. Thank you for going all the way here. Tendu answered with a calm voice before me who was acting trembling. His attitude could only be said as very calm and collected. He was spreading his arms welcoming us. There was a different PC with the desktop screen placed next to Tendu. No, the PC itself didn't have anything special. From the start in this room there were dozens of it. Therefore, the problem wasn't the outer appearance, it was what was inside it. There it was showing the sight of a girl who I was too used to. Yuunagi-san, you're finally here, Harukaze. While calling her name, I breathed all and felt relieved from the bottom of my heart. A strange feeling. After ROC ended, the connection between me and Harukaze was also shattered, although it was not long since I had also confronted her once. And that time it wasn't a real confrontation. Even so, when looking at Harukaze who was opening her arms wide inside that screen, I felt so relieved. The anxious that was straining me was as if relieved. An invisible strength inside me was as surging. First of all, congratulations for completing it. Tendu's voice resounded interrupted my look in Harukaze. Stepping up a few steps. He placed his middle finger on the frame of his glass and said as if he was acting. Actually, you've gone beyond what I've expected. Having the princess standing in an extremely poor position in ROC. The road to complete the game was there but it was very small. But even so you've completed it perfectly. Really, how unexpected. I thank you for that. I shrugged my shoulders and answered. Though, the one who completed it is not me. It's Himuri that I knew. Or to be more precise, I was the one who designed that remaining method. Therefore, the way you chose was also the best method. How wonderful. Ida, you don't look any happy. Ma, how could I be happy with that? Who? Tendu frowned. While feeling like I provoked him, I pointed my finger at the thing next to him. Over there was the appearance of Harukaze, a princess in captivity. Ah, about this before my answer, Tendu murmured in a bored manner. Right. It's okay for me to explain this but, let us see. In this situation, how much have you understood? Fufu, what's this? What's with the glare? Being provoked like that, I am not so patient to be only glaring. Spitting out harsher words than usual, seemed like my heart had kept its calm. Tendu's question was filled with provocation. Or in other way he was referring to. Why did it become like that? Why was Harukaze in prison? Or perhaps this was a plan? I decided not to use polite language anymore. What do you mean? From the start you didn't care about Komoi Haruka, me, could complete ROC or not who? Since when? This time Ura-game, it was deployed just to plant the seed of negative feeling inside Harukaze. First was isolation, then fear. However, it was not enough. Why? It sa hope unto despair. Therefore, with the first step of despair, in order to let her feel like she could complete the game, you nominated me in the Ura-game before. Even though I hated it, I still bought it. What a joke. However, in the end it was still the problem of principle. Though obviously it was so? If I completed ROC, then Harukaze will be released as the script. But even if I could finish it, because Harukaze was an AI, she would still suffer from loneliness, despair inside ROC. Ha, what a bunch of genius that right from the start it was Spia plan. Plan A was for Tarumi Yuunagi to play the role of the knight and then fail, and Plan B was moving to completion perfectly. No matter what it was, Harukaze couldn't escape from the system. Therefore, the moment ROC closed it would already be too late. I was no different than a pawn in the hand of Tendu. Wonderful. Tendu clapped joyously, he curved the edge of his mouth seemingly interested. As expected of Tarumi Yuunagi-kun. That was an excellent answer. Exactly, the target of ROC was reverse benevolent of code number Harukaze. To die despair onto this thing which has positive feeling to the extreme, in order for it to become a cruel GM, absolutely merciless and completely devoid of humanity. Then, from the start there is no need to create an AI with that set-up emotion. Moreover, Harukaze wouldn't have to face such misfortune. Oh, right, maybe I need to explain more. My speech been interrupted with a vague tone, then Tendu did a gesture of moving his. He started to talk about something I couldn't believe. It was. Harukaze was one of those AI called Cyberbrain Shinki, bug number. All of them was abnormal. The accident of losing control of the system happened in the place where the head genius of Spia was having a meeting. Artificial intelligence was born with mysterious code number in one of the remaining interacting computer. They were different than normal AI in one different point. It was that they possessed emotion which was never could be set since before now. And then, because they couldn't explain this abnormality, they interfere into the cyber world. About Harukaze, a cyberbrain Shinki code number 5, bug number code epsilon, made by Tendo Byakuya, a part of that power was already there. At that moment, her existence was really fragile, but, after continuing fixing, she was able to understand the game through internet. Just that her benevolent, the kindness she had was interfering. Therefore, Tendu had decided to destroy Harukaze through ROC. In order to make a perfect GM, I had stayed silent while monologue with the thought inside my head. The way Tendu spoke didn't look like he was acting at all. Ruri-senpai also didn't deny it, everything he said was the true. Until this point I wasn't any surprised to things like that. Even though I didn't know the reason, but something like if it was Spia anything could happen. ROC or other Ura-game, the factor like me could never change this obvious true. By the way, Tarumi Yuunagi-kun, my fantastic thinking had been interrupted by Tendu's voice. Your answer was wonderful. However, a pity you make a big mistake. Mistake? Right, if I heard you wrong then let me apology, but just now you said whatever, right? You thought, with your interference to us it wouldn't make any different, right? What about that? Whatever. With you? There's no such thing. With a voice as if it was pressed down, suddenly Tenda clenched his hand into a fist and yelled. The glitter cool figure of him disappeared. Wrong, too wrong. It was right that this doesn't have anything to do with the despair of code number Harukaze, but, however you, to a game master like me, what do you think about something you could hardly obtain? A new idea? A complicated system? A machine with high capacity? No, all is wrong. The game I spent all my effort to make, putting in all enthusiasm, if there was one player who could effortlessly conquer it, then I could never call it a success. While declaring, Tendu brushed up the end of his coat. Maybe he was being excited. His tone gradually became faster, and his cheek was dyed a bit red. Tarumi Yuunagi-kun, you are a wonderful player. A genius as I want. I knew a bit of your talent in the game 4 years ago, even though I want to experience one more, but I didn't have the chance. I had waited a long time. Chance? You could force login me into Ura-game at any time. No way. That's going against my beauty concept. A death game or something that's inevitable or something like that, it's not my style. I would never force anyone to participate. No matter what happened, I would still give the reward to the winner. Something couldn't be budged. I would not make a game that goes against the rule or cast aside my prestige. Maybe Tendu himself had always thought like that. Maybe what he said wasn't wrong. According to what his AOI said, even the game in the past, there was no such thing as he would discard the benefit of the player. Even this time too, after using return, if I didn't log in another time, then everything would be over. From the start there was no penalty at all. Of course, other than the princess, everyone was the same. Are you in anger? Maybe you don't like being dragged into things like this. As if understanding my feeling, Tendu smiled and said. Then he raised his hands up as if surrender and continued with a calm voice from the start. About that, let me apology. I planned on officially invited you to the game, but in the end forcing you was undeniable. I would not do it again, I promise. If needed, I'll even do a commitment. No need, that'll be troublesome. If so, then, this will be my personal warning. However, let us see. Thanks to you, ROC had become very interesting. Therefore, of course, it would not be forcing, but a simple commendation if possible. Could you participate in the next Ura-game? This time there won't be any evil story. Even this thing would undertake the role of GM as planned. That's enough, shut up. Interrupting his words, I became angry with the arrogant man who was pointing at Harukaze. However, Tendu only tilted his head, not understanding. Shut up? What's the meaning of that? If you want me to shut up, I'll die. I don't care about your extreme personality. Interesting? What interesting? There's a guy who likes the interesting of ROC which you spoke of. But unfortunately you don't know that is AOI guy, though he was only an idiot. A big idiot. So you not going to participate? Maybe not. If there were anything like this, I wouldn't be so polite. Even if it's something pointless, but let me say it again, quickly and stop. Don't drag Harukaze into your games anymore. In a second, Tendu looked at me with a strange look of a rare species. And then he murmured that's strange, so strange. If you hate my game so much, it can be helped. I only want everyone to be able to enjoy the most wonderful game, but if I was asked about how to make or complete it, I would answer no. Why, whether or not it's interesting or not was only my personal idea. In order to have unity is impossible. That voice as if compressing, even so it still spread to all the corners of the room. Maybe this was the way the leader speaks. A voice that could attract attention of anyone. By the way, I wouldn't care about how other thinks about my game. Only taking in the important idea would be enough. But, I am really mindful when those idea was put on other. Because it was right? Everyone has the right to speak. However, to condemn other would be different. Therefore, your desire couldn't be passed. The more you hate Ura-game, the more I like it. Moreover, there are around 50,000 people who are enjoying it. Because of that, your desire of destruction is only a conflict in viewpoint of value. Right, the conflict inside is also not a bad thing. It's just that there will be other who will feel disagreement about it. And that would be me. After finishing his long talk, staring at me. A silent atmosphere to the point I could hear sounds of saliva swallowing. Was it Harukaze or Senpai, or it could be mine? conflict about the viewpoint of value. I see, as exactly as what he said. Tendu always thought his game was interesting, so he inherited the will to discard all other idea. And I was the one who didn't recognize that. I thought from the bottom of my heart he wouldn't like it. However, I remember this conflict. The thing that I completely refused, or to be more precise, it was Harukaze being dragged into Ura-game. No matter how far apart I and she were. But, if so, I didn't need to spill out curse words before Tendu answer. Tendu. You hate forcing the viewpoint of value, right? You also never force an idea. You said it right. Ah, right. Force or restrain, those ugly words don't exist in my dictionary. Then I want to ask you something. What do you think about Harukaze? Tendu's calm face was as if exposed before my question. Didn't he wait for him to answer, I continued saying. That's strange. If you had such a strong belief, why could you ignore and destroy the personality inside Harukaze? Didn't you hear her voice? She had to scream in pain. She was bullied by you that she cried till her tears was dried. Wasn't it a little contradict? Contradict, you say. Now, where is such thing? The words you said seems hard to understand, eh? Maybe you had misunderstood somewhere. First of all, let me say it again. The business of code number Harukaze is really important to me. A cyber brain Shinki shrouded in mystery without any answer, a very precious thing. This has to do with the development, time, effort, or love are two completely different things, therefore it's completely not reluctant. Just that Tendu continued talking. He spoke with a normal tone as if there was nothing special. This thing isn't human. To me this thing is like a toy with emotion which was famous with kid. Looking so cute I couldn't bear to throw it away. However, in the end it's only a pawn. Even if it owns something like a heart, but it's not real. It's only a fake thing. Therefore, instead of worrying about this thing, why don't you think about is it important or not to develop the game? I could only remain silent before those ugly and disgusted words. I see. So that's why, damn it. That was the reason why the situation of Harukaze was so inequality. That was the reason why I misunderstood. From the start, he didn't see her as a human. A meaningful existence was not recognized. On the opposite of me who was looking down avoiding, Tendu didn't lose his calm, and the first thing since I walked in here, he looked at Harukaze. A cold look, looking at her like nothing more than a tool, no more no less. Since when, his slender fingers were typing on the keyboard, input the command access the absolute complement on the small girl covering herself in the screen. However, that's strange hearing those unexpected voice from Tendu. I unconsciously look up. Harukaze was inside the screen, for some reason she wasn't moving, despite all the command input be the producer. She crouched down, hands holding her head as if fighting back. Suddenly, Tendu frowned. Opening his mouth in bewildered, exposing his red tongue. Refusing the command from the main computer. How stupid, the function of this code number. Harukaze Tendu became impatient, he snatched the PC close to him and started doing something. Behind that aghast was a scientist, of course he didn't pay any attention to me. The sound of typing continued to sounded. And suddenly becoming free, I looked into that PC, where Harukaze was waiting in there. My eyes met with hers. Harukaze was sneaking a glance through her fingers. Seeing me, her face became brighter. When I tried to touch the screen, Harukaze had risen her hand as if she wanted to be pulled out, then she smiled. Right. That right. In the end I was the one who was saved. Hey, Tendu, dammit, that's strange. In the end what happened? Losing control of the mysterious code number? Or losing control? But, why now? What is it, Tarumi Yuunagi? While feeling satisfied with the smile of Harukaze as usual, once again, I stood in front of Tendu Byakuya. Facing each other, our position could only be said so. I stared into that emerald eyes as if challenging him. About the reason of your failure, that you look at her as an object with consciousness. That eyes narrowed down, he started analyzed my words. However, no need to wait for the result, Tendu said with a smile as if ridiculed. Unbelievable. Winning ROC wasn't T that was because of your own talent? And this thing didn't T help a bit. Not only just that it's a shackle to you. No. That's not a game. That's your plan A project to make Harukaze become despair. If so, then I still could not understand. About using the word reason for failure, which means you want to say my plan had failed? How silly. Thanks to you playing the hero role too well, therefore once again this thing will dwell inside despair and isolation. That then, it will be so if things develops in the way you predicted. That logic of yours seemed long. Tendu curved his lips as if being angered. He spread his arms to show off his dominance. Exaggerating the action without any excitement, this was the authority of a GM. Okay? The game is over. In this situation where a mere player like you was going against? Ah, you did well. However, your victory rode only to here. Wasn't your desire freedom? It is so, but that was enough. I had reached the limit of my endurance. This thing, that thing, shut up, you windbag. Your story or your ambition, anything. You want to create an interesting game and new? Ah, then just do it. I don't care nor do I have any interests. But, about how you treat Harukaze, I could not leave it alone. What are you trying to say? Tendu was just showing indiscreet, looking at me emotionless. Didn't I say it? The game is over. The place where you belong is no more. What are you trying to say? What are saying, that's my line. You still don't understand the problem. You left the last card since a while ago. What? Tendu frowned, sinking in thought as if analyzing the words I just said. He was called a genius, definitely in game, or to be precise today, right here he had remembered all I did and said. Therefore he was searching inside his memories. However, he still couldn't find the answer. Directors though, maybe calling you that now is a bit strange. Hey, Tendu Byakuya-senai, Tendu and Harukaze who was inside the screen, all three was looking at each other in a circle. Suddenly there was a carefree voice interrupting the tense atmosphere. Was a winner in ROC. Ruri-senpai, or to be more precise Himuri Nanes. Although it's not exactly correct, but, can I get my victory reward first? Or to be more precise, I am still counted as the winner, right? Naihihai, Haruchin, please bear with it. That's fine, answering Himuri coldly. Like I said beforehand, I didn't want anything. But on the contrary, if it was Himuri, I wonder what she wanted. Of course it is fine, but saying it in a vague way, more or less. Tendu was feeling annoyed. Immediately he regained his composure and answered. Then what is it you want? A superior device? The right of next GM? Whichever it is, a promise is a promise. With my credibility and my pride, once I swear I would ready to. Sorry director, those aren't correct. Without hesitation, Himuri interrupted Tendu's guesses. She smiled Naihia without any bad intent, then while she blinked mischievously she rose her index finger. I've said it before? What I want? The device or the right? I don't need something so low. What are you implying? The appearance of Tendu suddenly became darkened. The winning prize. Don't tell me you don't remember, director? Seriously. I had declared before. Declared, don't tell me in a second. Tendu facial expression had become pale. Did he by someone way guessed? If so, then he had a wonderful memories. Even me? If I was not someone related, I couldn't be able to remember. A stupid request. You want a body, and then, Himuri twisted her finger happily and said. Naihihai, you still remember it, right? I said it right? I remember the first time talking to Haruchin, Ivy said so. I am not kidding, that right, the thing I want is a body for Harukaze-chan. Of course, even the part she could walk in the real world. Gulp. Hey. You don't have the right to complain, interrupting the words as if compressing of Tendu. I looked at him and bloomed a despising smile. The price of Ura-game, you can have whatever you want, right? If so, of course a bone and flesh body also counts. Therefore, as the producer, use whatever you have, all your strength, intelligent, property, mind, and also your maniacal to make her human. I used all my strength and spit out those cursed words, Tendu white. Harukaze slightly opened her mouth. Because feeling a little embarrassed before the look which was about to cry of her, I turned away. Inside the screen, she was staggering toward me. I don't have any right to interfere? How stupid, because if you go fishing with bait you have to let go of the bait. Where is your beauty concept? Where is your unchangeable faith? Did as your absolute vow of no coercion, wasn't the price you decided is anything? Don't tell me you couldn't do it. You, don't get ahead of yourself, eyes as if dying. For some reason he was looking at me but not him. Yuri. Whatever, I'll give you anything you want. As exactly whatever. A big amount of money. Even fame or position is of no exception. And if you want to use this mysterious code number, the resurrection you wanted before it as possible. Even so, you still want this thing? You intend to let this doll that only knows how to move and talk to appear in the real world? I couldn't understand. What a headache. For what? Why? Is this thing so important? Didn't I already say it? Saying so I took big steps, coming closer to Tendu, then I snatched that necktie which was done neatly on his neck. Like this he couldn't say whatever he wanted, even if it was a little, but if I didn't retaliate it wouldn't worth any. About the reason for your failure, it was that you didn't take in mind her existence. You have perceived wrongly about her value. The possibility of Harukaze wanting to be freed is a very normal thing, but even so you couldn't see it. Or to be more precise, to you it was something illogical. Well, maybe now whatever I explain to you, you probably won't understand. What she likes about me is my viewpoint of value. That is completely different than yours. As I gently let go, Tendu just like that fell down on his knees. A king of game master, although a little stupid, but he was the one standing on top of the world. He only lost because the princess, Harukaze, was his biggest weak point. Looking at the scene which he kneels down was so ironic. He himself as if he had recreated the ending which was written in the opening of ROC. Silently walking away, I stepped out of the door which the secretary was opening. After that, I waved my hand to Harukaze while she was blushing. This wasn't a goodbye, but this much was enough. Right. Instead of that, although I couldn't say it was effective, but I left him some words like this. At some point, as a human you should try talking to her. Who knows, your viewpoint of value could change. Just like me. Epilogue. 3 months had passed since the end of ROC. I continued my normal daily lives in peace, though soon enough it will end. Hey Nagi. Nay, Nagi. A transfer student, there's a transfer student. I knew it, though you annoying, didn't you hear what I said? What does it matter? Moreover, I heard it all. The transfer student that Yamanishi just tell me. No, I am Kawanishi. It's alright, Kawanishi. Don't be sad. In the lively atmosphere, laughter resounded. The thing about me slide in and did to Jiza the other day, or the interference of two people that the class had looked at me differently. Speaking of which, after that Ruri senpai also came to school because she was in Himuri mode. She became famous, however, because she kept the attitude of separating herself from the community. She was criticized with bad words, on the contrary with the friendly attitude of Yukaina, which I was observing. Well, who knew something good might happen? I wonder what kind of person she'll be. Hey Nagi, what do you think? Try to deduce it. It's a girl that I know. Moo, you really don't care at all then. I guess it's a boy. I don't understand. What are you guessing? You mean a trap? In true is really a trap? I completely don't know. I lost the status of being a childhood friend. If you change your gender, what should Ito Yukaina? What is it? Right now I am busy uploading status on Yahoo Baka. What the Yuunagi dare to call me idiot? According to that Izayoi guy, it been a while, but Ura-game still didn't have any movement. Just that, Tendo Byakuya didn't look like he had changed his mind. He was simply busy with other work, therefore he didn't have time to develop another Ura-game. maybe after next month another game may start. His AOI guy had completed an entry and sent line for me every day. By the way, he usually used sticker in chat, which was a big shock to me. Then. Quickly back to your seat. Let us start HR of this Monring sensei. Today I heard a very hot news that's right, it is a hot news, so quickly and get back to your seat. Very good. It is a cute girl, right? Sensei, can I hope for it? Ufufu, if you say so. She'll be embarrassed, just look and enjoy, though I could only say so now. It is the main part. In true, she is very, 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 very cute. Cute and obedient, and soft too. I had always wanted a daughter like it. Then you should hurry and marry quiet. Yes, speaking of which, although this was not related, but the one inside the cold blood librarian was the secretary-san, the one who was inside of the Sphaya building the other day. I knew about her identity through the message from Tendu Byakuya. A story with lots of complaining. Remembering it, the one who was role-playing into hero didn't feel interesting at all, therefore after the game was over they went out drinking. Ruri-senpai was only playing with her orange juice, and the weapon shop owner uncle had a habit of crying and become sorrowful when being drunk. In the end it became an annoying mess for the employee. There was still a lot more to tell, but it was the problem in the bar, so I hang up the phone. Avoiding reality only comes here after around 10 seconds. I opened my eye and murmured. HR was still being proceed. Standing on the podium. Sensei looked at the door and said, "You can come in." That was really nice timing. I was feeling nervous. No, it is not like I was nervous or hoping for something. No, in the end what was that? Damn it, suddenly why was I distracted by trivial stuffs? My heart started beating nonstop. Even if I closed my eyes or covered my ears, I couldn't press it down. Simply the part inside me was burning, so it is not much of a problem. The sliding door into class, it was pulled many times. And in a moment, as if long sigh or joyful, in short when she stepped in, that appearance had stirred the class. The one who was standing in front of everyone was a girl. The new uniform tightly covered her small figure, long silky silver hair, her bright innocent smile make everyone wanted to commit a crime. That was Harukaze. Tendu Byakuya's message, or to be more precise he had to join a very busy project, it was so. The project named Bringing Harukaze to the Real World. Actually I didn't know how he did it, even if I asked he wouldn't answer. In the end Tendu had did as he promised. As expected of the genius group named Magus, one of the core of Sphaya. Hello everyone. I am Haruha no Vitu, I am Kumoi Haruka. Please take care of me from now on. Harukaze slowly walked to the teacher table, she bowed and introduced herself. In a second, a sweet scent as if shrouding the whole class, something as if a negative ion, and then she started walk down, blend in with the crowd. She looked around class with her big eyes as if showing her curiosity. Being able to walk to school with her own body, this situation she was really appreciated, right? That open lips show how much Harukaze had been excited. And those eyes were aiming at me, how nervous. Wah, right after that, Harukaze had let out a soundless voice. After each staggering step she came closer to me. The whole class was having a big question mark when they saw the strange behavior of this silver-hair Bishujo. All eyes was on this me when I was started being thought of as related. It called favor, right? So this was the feeling of being the main character in the story. While being invaded by that feeling, at the same time I was being full of myself while waiting for Harukaze to come. Waiting, Yukina-san. What the over? Because I didn't expect that. I held my head and screamed. Alright, mainly Yukina was the one taking care of Harukaze. And I only faced her twice in an incomplete space. Why are you acting nervous for this me? E2. Sorry, do I know you? But Haruka, it seems I've never heard this name before, why is that? This cute girl, surely I don't know her. But I don't know why this fluffy feeling, do I know her or not? Moo. While clinging to Harukaze, Yukina said in bewilderment. Can be helped? This was the first time Yukina faced Harukaze in real life. No matter how close they were she couldn't remember. It just that, Yukaina was a really good person in communication. Masai since you re-cute I'll let it go. When she was patted on the head, Harukaze looked very happy, and even looked innocent too. Looking at that cuteness, the crowd in class could only look to the sky. The influence of a beautiful transfer student with silver hair was very big, but the variety of expression of Harukaze had entered the people's heart and made them unable to stay away. And then, when I quenched my eyes and felt comfortable, I had coincidentally met eye with her. Both spoke up. No, don't blame me. I was also a lonely loner like senpai. I could never get used to this. I didn't know what to do. Therefore, I wasn't going to use that excuse, but Harukaze had acted first. Gently escaping Yukaina's embrace, that left hand clenched and put on her chest, while her right hand was slightly pointed toward me. The crowd became fidgeted and followed that suspicious action. Yukaina also tilted her head wondering, looked at me. It was really embarrassing being the center of attention, but I had to answer her. Hooray! With my left hand, I touched Harukaze's hand. A small hand. If I held it tight as if I could cover that whole hand, of course I would not do it. I was simply shake hand with her, but if looking from the front we were like linking hands? Even so, this was one of Harukaze's desire. Ayuwa, because not wanting to look at the smile as if melting other of Harukaze, so I turned away for a bit. My role here was over. I wanted to retreat but I couldn't since my left hand was being held tight by Harukaze. As if I was flirting with a lover. Seeing so, the whole class yelled. Eehee. Finally we are able to meet. I am really happy. Yuunagi-san, alright. Though, we need to talk a bit. First let go of your hand. I don't wanna, why not? I don't like it. I have decided. Because finally I got to come to this world. Being dragged outside by Yuunagi-san. Therefore, I have decided I'll become a bit more selfish. I'll never leave things that are important to me. I want to be close to you, want to hold your hand. Only so, is that alright? At that moment, Harukaze had felt insecure, or was that a bright smile? Really, I didn't know for sure. Why, my embarrassment had come to its limit, my chest had become hotter. Before Harukaze had said, her theory of happiness was surprise. Right at this moment I had to agree with her. To put it simply, I was really concerned about my left hand, which was drenched in sweat.
Thanks for listening to this narration from JupiterAudiobooks.com. We hope you liked it. To continue the story and discover more titles, visit JupiterAudiobooks.com. Until next time.